It's a fire in love. It's a fire in love. It's a fire in love.
Hello ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome to this Vainglory Showmatch of 5 versus 5. This is the first Showmatch since Worlds all that time ago. We've got so many people, so much talent for you today. Just a glimpse, we're going to have Chingy, Spaghetti, Quatervois, Tezzaboy playing along with tons of other pros, and casters will be playing. We've got myself, Minimiter, Azurai, I Requested Jewel, Luxuria, and we have a special guest, Idmon Fish. So to start off, I'm going to introduce Azurai and Idmon Fish. How you two doing?
Hey guys, doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Hey.
Nice, we're all pretty ready for this first show match, which is going to be coming up soon. But I think we're going to check out the schedule for today. There are 4 matches. As you can see, the first 2 matches are going to be between professional players, a mix between the teams. And then after that, there are some, we'll say, non-professional players that have been introduced. Some of the casters are going to be having a go to see how well they can do. But we're going to be thinking about how is Vainglory 5 versus 5 going to play out. And the reason that we've got Idmon Fish here, he is the analyst for Renegades and the coach. So hopefully he's going to be able to answer some of our questions about how 5 versus 5 is going to play and how you guys at home are going to prepare for that golden ticket, which means you can play in just over 2 days. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Okay, wait, sorry.
So,
just like super nervous to see what's gonna happen here because like the last time we've seen like quote unquote unofficial match was what the release during Vainglory 5V5 Worlds, and now like I guess like a month after we're gonna see like these pro players test out even more, test out the 5v5 map even more, and then show us what they think is like the meta to play in it with.
Yeah, there's going to be a really interesting mix of expertise as well, because some of these people have played for a while, some of them haven't had that much access, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, you may have seen people like Spaghetti streaming it on Twitch, and some people have had it for a long time, so they'll know a lot better of what to do. And it is nice to see some people that have just received access, what their first impressions are, what heroes they think are going to be quite strong, what rotations they're going to do, because there are lots of different jungle camps and so many different ways you can move about the jungle and which lane you want to gank. I've got a feeling that in these matches, the slightly less competitive matches, whereas at Worlds there was a lot of competition between the professional teams, here we're going to see a lot more of what lanes are most likely to be ganked, because it's going to be much more natural for the players to think, well, I rotate through the jungle this way, so maybe top lane is the lane where you really need to be worried about Glaive coming in and ganking you, or maybe a Koshka coming in to try and kill you. Hope Azurai is still here, but
yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, still here. Just checking that we haven't suffered some connection issues already. That would be a little bit of a struggle. And so we'll talk about how the buff camps work at the moment in Vainglory 5v5. This isn't confirmed. There's still a couple of days left to release, so you never know. There might be quite a bit changing between what you see being played today and what you're going to be playing in a couple of days. But at the moment, the buff camps spawn first. There's one weapon buff camp and one crystal buff camp on each side of the jungle. They spawn at 55 seconds in. You get a warning before they're about to spawn. And so what generally happens is that a carry and a jungler will take the buff camps together. Obviously, the crystal power carry taking the crystal one and the weapon carry taking the weapon buff camp. Because of how ambient gold works, you want to make sure that you get as much gold as possible spread throughout the team. I'm really excited to see if anyone's going to try a jungle invade at level 1. It's not very easy to pull off because everyone has just come out of the map. No one's going to be farming in lane. Everyone's going to be trying to scout out where you might be going. But if we see aggressive heroes such as a Koshka, or maybe even Cruel can be very aggressive in 3v3, maybe they're going to try and invade, steal away a buff camp of the enemy jungle straight away at Azurai.
Yeah, I'm also kind of curious, like, how the interaction is going to happen with the mid laner, because before, in 3v3, it's only the one lane, but now with 5v5, you got yourself the mid lane, and then, again, what they've already shown to us in the preview was that there is that speed boost if you follow the current of the river, and then we were talking about this a while ago before the stream started, is what's going to happen if, like, this mid laner is an assassin? Are going to see much more rotations coming in from the mid, or are they going to keep rotating to mid to get this mid laner rolling? I'm just super curious about that.
Yeah, so that is going to be something to look into. How will the River Speed Boost be playing into the game? We are now loading into Sovereign's Rise for the first game, and it looks like that's a very interesting rotation from Rise. Not quite sure how they're going to do this, but they really want to defend that buff camp because they're clearly worried that it's going to be trying to be stolen away. So that's an interesting rotation. And is this pretty standard, Idbonfish, from what you've seen from most games?
It's pretty standard. There's a lot of priority put on the weapon power buff, especially in the early game, because it just helps you so much with your farming. And depending on who you put it on, if you put it on your bottom laner, they can put a huge amount of pressure out. If you put it on your jungler, they can be devastating throughout the entire map. So it's really important to take.
Okay, it looks like it was... Sync1 did not secure that weapon buff. It went to SNK on the Glaive. So they're going for the jungler, going to maybe try and get some ganks or try and steal away some jungle. I'm very excited to see Spaghetti on Vaya. He loves to play Vaya, has got pentakills before on stream, so that's definitely going to be exciting. But he could be caught out in the lane. Nope, he's just got his B and will be able to just dash away so easily. Looking at the vision control, everyone putting vision in the lane and in the river. No one's decided to put any vision around their jungle yet because they think that if they can stop the points where you can go into the jungle, then you know exactly where they're going to be. But the Sinkay trying to catch out Official Heim.
So now we're going to see Official Heim just back away. What's kind of interesting here to see is that there's kind of like this 2-2-1 setup. Def is going to be rotating to the top lane, but what's kind of interesting here is that they have at least what looks like to be a dedicated jungler, which is Def, who's actually going to get caught out here by SNK. He's got to be very careful with this Glaive, a little bit too over aggro on him, but of course, having the Batiste can have a little bit of a sustain there, so he'll be able to skedoodle out of his way. Drops the Ordain, going aggressive on the Sync 1, but Deft will get exploded immediately right off the bat. And Official Hein, oh my goodness, look at the auto attacks coming in from SNK. He might be able to actually get Official Hein before Sync 1 goes down, and that's going to be a 2-0 for the red team. Good start.
Both players remembering to use their flask. Wow.
And note that SNK there picked up the blue buff that was dropped. So now he's got, I think, both buffs. So he's going to be really strong.
Feels good, man.
Yes, that is a very important mechanic that's mentioned, that if you have a buff and you die, that buff then is dropped onto the floor and can be picked up by anyone, by your allies, by enemies, and then the remainder of that duration will go onto that hero. So SNK has now lost the crystal buff because it had basically no time left on it, but DefQ are burned away. Lots of pressure being put down onto this bot lane by Team Rise.
Question now is Tezzaboy going to recall back to base just to get some HP back, or is this Rona sustain enough that he'll be just sticking to his lane, trying to absorb as much XP as possible? I'm not really sure what's going to happen here, but he's got to be really careful because even though it is kind of risky to dive under a turret, it still is very possible. Look at the harassment coming in from this Samuel, really putting Tezzaboy to the limit. One more shot could be just about it, but no, it's the heal. It's the heal coming out from his item as well as Quatervois, so he'll be able to at least fight for another day.
Yeah, it's really important to note that the turret attack a lot quicker. The first attack from a turret, if you get within turret range and are attacking an enemy hero, it will attack you. Whereas in 3v3, you can kind of bait the edge of the turret range and hope that it doesn't attack you. You see Aeon, as soon as he got within turret range, was hit by that turret and it did a lot of damage to him. Quatervois with that Imperial Sigil, able to keep Tezzaboy nice and healthy. It looks like that lane will pretty much equalise, and nobody's in the mid lane at the moment. Spaghetti's just trying to help get a bit of farm with SNK.
Oh, this could be a 4-man gank into the bottom lane. Gotta be very careful here now. Well, a little bit bombarded by 4 members of the blue team. One more shot could be enough, and he goes down. They take themselves the first kill. Aeon immediately goes out of the danger zone and just hugs his turret for the meantime. Tezzaboy is taking quite a bit of damage, but still. Good rotations coming in from the blue.
Oh, we can't put in there. There's a scout cam. That is one thing different to 3v3 is that if you check a bush for scout traps, you know if you can port there. You don't know if there's a scout cam in a bush unless you put one down yourself. And that 4-man gank, it feels like it's a very risky play because obviously that means that your other lanes can just be pushed. But with a Vaya early game, you're unlikely to get a lot of damage on that mid lane turret. So Spaghetti could push the wave, but didn't get any damage onto the turret. So it was a positive trade for Sovereigns.
5 minutes has already passed, so there are the shops on the river that you can actually buy items on now. It's also one of the things that they said, right? Like 5 minutes in. Oh, there you go, Spaghetti. Yeah. Well, you can't touch him now, but he'll be able to touch you. So there you go, gets a kill.
Yeah, Spaghetti just diving in. And one thing I want to point out is on the bottom jungle, there were tons of scout cams surrounding that jungle shop. Is it very important, Idmonfish, that you get vision on the jungle? Because is it likely that the enemy team's going to try and come into your jungle to use it? Or is it generally that, so for example, blue side wouldn't be going to that red side jungle shop because it's a bit too aggressive for them?
Well, it's useful to keep vision so you can go there and shop safely. It's useful because, yeah, people will tend to just shop.
Oh, hang on, because it looks like Official Heine's going to get blown up. Ooh, wow. Good damage.
Lost damage. Should we carry on there, Idmonfish?
Sorry,
my bad.
So yeah, you want to keep vision on it if you can, because it allows you to shop safely, and it also allows you to spot if the enemy happens to be coming. And it's quite common if you're going to come down to gank their lane, to come down via the shop, pick something up on the way, and so on. So it gives you that little bit more breathing time, that little bit more space.
Okay, it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, definitely, it looks like red side is prioritizing vision a lot more than the blue side. But saying that, Tezzaboy's managed to put down quite a few scout cams in that bot lane bush. The ganks seem to be coming into bot lane at the moment. That's where we saw the first kill, and that's where most people are trying to pressure. Official Hein just going to push that captain minion wave up towards the top lane turret. It's a pretty passive from both teams now. Rise has obviously got more kills. They know they've got a gold lead because you can see on the scoreboard now that you have got a gold lead over the enemy team, but it's not that massive. And there we go, Blackclaw will be landing in 20 seconds. Don't doubt it's going to be started up by anyone unless they're trying to sneak it away.
Tezzaboy, though, right in the midst of all the confusion and damage in front, or rather in the bottom lane, as it seems like it was Quatervois as well as DefQ who wanted to go for maybe a follow-up on that fight, but then smartly backing off now in Aeon as well. Spaghetti has been really safe with his lane. The Varia mobility is just giving him so much, I guess, survivability here, because there was like a 3-man rotation there like a minute ago, and then he just like one dash and got out of the way of that.
Yeah, so Varia could be in a bit of trouble. Sync 1 and SNK could be rotating down. Sorry, Mr. Jim could be in a little bit of trouble. He's going to defend. Sorry, back off under turret. Idris has seen almost no play in 3 versus 3 in the current meta, but he's trying his best up against Varia, and it could be going worse. The CS 36 of him to 45 for Spaghetti. Obviously, it looks like the CS numbers are absolutely terrible, but it's important to remember the minions aren't worth as much as they are in 3 versus 3. Mr. Jim going on Spaghetti.
And he has to be very careful here. One more shot. DefQ not actually able to reach him in time. Ooh, puts out the bad mojo, but it won't connect. SNK was right in the vicinity there, just hoping that maybe if Spaghetti's in danger, he could afterburn somebody away. But first turret, I believe, will be destroyed. That is in the top.
Yeah,
yes.
Official Hein unable to defend that top lane turret. So nice rotation, and there we see Lyra picking up the tier 3 boosted cam as her first item, as opposed to going for a fountain rush. So there are different items you can buy as a first item. You don't, as a captain, you don't just have to rush a fountain as you would in 3v3 in almost every game.
I mean, vision is going to be very important here, because obviously compared, like 3v3 compared to the 5v5 maps, it's bigger, meaning that you have to have more, what do you call this, control of the map. Aside from that, the fog of war is really annoying to deal with, so at least having the vision does delete that possibility that, you know, your opponent can actually micro around the fog. Now it's gonna be hindering Tezzaboy's farm here just by a little bit, but look at this. Blue team's gonna go for a 3-man rotation here, and now it's gonna back away. This Arden does have the ultimate now, so he can drop the gauntlet just for safety, or maybe even engage here, because look at that, SNK is gonna dive in and they just explode onto DefQ. Activates the Lyra teleportation ultimate. Quatervois gonna try to skedaddle his way, but nope, afterburn once again from SNK, and SNK is gonna be the hero of that team fight.
Yeah, that was a nice fight from Team Rise. They managed to get the turret and get a couple of kills. Tezzaboy forced to run away. He's going to run towards the shop. Well, let's see some boots being picked up and used. It doesn't look like it. He has got his tier 1 boots able to be popped if he gets caught out. But yeah, Tezzaboy obviously is going to be able to run away from Samuel on Rona. And Glaive trying to steal the gold toe. That is a really risky play. If he gets it, that's a big gold swing for the side of Team Rise. But SNK, it was very deep in the enemy jungle, so he has to off run away. Nice gold lead extending for Team Rise, about 4,000 at the moment. And Ringo could be in a bit of trouble, but he's going to back away. So, yeah, it looks like both teams are going to be just trying to see which lane they can get the most use out of. Tezzaboy in a bit of trouble, and Spaghetti rotating up towards the top lane.
Man, SNK has been such a good initiator for the team. Like, you can just see afterburn after afterburn, it just secures them a kill, and it's making it very difficult here for the blue team to make something happen, because they can't go for the punish. And right now, that Sync 1 as well as Spaghetti's getting the items. Look at their damage just scale off the roof here.
Yeah, so much damage onto DefQ. He doesn't have any form of defense on either Sync or Spaghetti. So if he hasn't got his teammates to provide him with some help, he's going to get blown up. Official Hein trying to get onto Ringo.
Official Hein activates the Rose Offensive, but it won't be enough to actually make anything happen for his side, and gets another kill right there. Oh my goodness. As it seems like Mr. Jim has to back away, but are they going to go for the dive? Nah, they just went for the turret, and they're immediately going to rotate for this Black Claw. Oh, this is going to be pretty good. We're going to see the first dragon come out in the game.
Yeah, it might be.
They can get there and trying to do anything about it.
Ooh,
No, absolutely no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was one scout cam dead on where Blackclaw is, was put down by Team Sovereign. So Idris knew exactly what was happening, and this means Tezzaboy has been able to split push down the bot lane and just got the turret while Blackclaw was being taken, because they had vision. They knew exactly what was happening by Team Rise. And now it looks like SNK and Sync 1 are trying to split push up the top lane. Looks like they're going for a 2-3 push with this Blackclaw.
Official Line's gonna go really aggressive here into the back line, but they actually followed up with the ultimate of Deft. Although it doesn't make anything happen for them, they don't get any kills. They do push back the red team for a little bit here, but that Black Claw is dealing so much damage into the tier 2 turret. Are they gonna actually try to follow up on it? Another top tier 2 turret actually comes out, so this is the split push potential that you have once the Black Claw comes in. Lightning comes above from the use of Spaghetti's ultimate, and look at how much potential, how much pressure comes out from this red team. 2 turrets, and still that Black Claw is alive. Now he's gonna go down.
Blackwell takes so much damage from those turret explosions, and that fire ultimate, Anvil's hammer, did so much work because you just can't run away from it if all of your allies are being hit by it. And so obviously we saw Ringo and Glaive decided to push the top lane just by getting minions, while Blackclaw was pushing down the mid lane. It's a really common strategy to not put everyone with your Blackclaw as you would put everyone with the Kraken. Just try and get a higher number of turrets in separate lanes as opposed to just all pushing down the mid lane. Do you think that maybe Edmund Fish, they could have tried to push the bot lane, or was that not possible because of what Rona had just done?
I think because Rona had just pushed her out, I think you're right. I think it wouldn't have worked out. So it was probably the best move. And by having 2 weapon power laners in the top lane, they could push really fast as well.
So weapon power laners are generally the best at pushing, because if you get the minions within turret range, they don't have to worry about trying to kite away from turrets. They just stand there and destroy them, especially someone like a Ringo. And so Tezzaboy just absolutely blew up Aeon in that team fight, and Idris trying to run away. Will he get away?
Oh, this could be a little bit of a flank maneuver. Another one comes out from Acid. Ringo's ultimate connects, and that'll just be the end of it for Mr. Jim. But now all hell breaks loose as 2 members from the red team goes down, and it seems like there's more blood wanting to be shed here from the blue. Are they going to actually pursue onto now? Looks like he's going to be fine. Spaghetti, on the other hand, is actually going to be pushing onto the mid tier 3, and he's putting quite a bit of damage already there. So, wow.
Something you really have to be worried about. Now, will Spaghetti be able to get away? That is a greedy backport. Mr. Jim catches him out.
Is he going to win the duel, though? He's putting a lot of damage, but he even absorbs 1 mid-tier 3 shot, so nah, it's Mr. Jim to win that.
That was Spaghetti being very greedy with his backport. He probably could have got away. Mr. Jim decided to leave the crystal power buff. Perhaps he wasn't sure what it was, but you see next to Spaghetti's dead body there is that crystal power buff that if anyone decides to take it, they will have a bonus crystal power for the remainder of its duration, which probably won't be that long, but it's definitely something that you need to take note of, and if you see a buff lying around, definitely pick it up.
The other thing that kind of like seeing right now from these teams is similar to like 3v3, is that they're very hyperactive or proactive in trying to control the jungle more so than the lanes. I mean, lanes will be uber important, of course, because you need that to push into the crystal, but then you can just see how much emphasis they are and how many picks they're getting here. But now there's another fight coming in, 3v2 situation. Quatervois activates the Arcane Passage, but Deathheal lines up a pretty aggressive ultimate there, pushes him back out, and now has a couple of stacks from Official Hein. Anvil's Hammer comes in from Spaghetti, but actually he's in the middle of it all! He gets blown up by the Rona! Oh my goodness, he didn't want to go there! Ooh, and that's how Spaghetti got served. We're gonna go for...
Yeah, he thought that he could 1 versus 5 or 2 versus 5 with the Ardent, but just being blown up, unable to get Arc Recursion down in time to run away. SNK trying to run away on the Glaive. Lovely block from Tezzaboy. SNK's going to go down. No, has he got the flask? Is it enough? Is he going to survive SNK? The triple
nice. Wait, Official Hein though, gonna try to join in onto the fight. Gotta be one joins in onto the fray. Has the Ringo. This is so hectic right now. Aeon dishes out the Malice and Verdict. Ooh, activates the Arcane Passage, but Sync 1 will be following pursuit. Spaghetti comes out from respawn, and he goes just aggressive with all that lightning damage, and Tezzaboy's gotta be able to back away. Has the slow, but Mr. Jim also joins in onto the fight, activates the ultimate, and he will go down. Nah, he has the movement speed. He got the flash. He'll be chugging on it. And that is such a very, I would just say, pandemonious fight. Is there a word like that?
How did SNK get away with that? He just has 3 spell swords and just like, nah, I'm gonna run away. You're gonna kill me. I've got a flask. I've got an afterburn. You've got no chance. And the Blackclaw just being snuck away by Team Rise. There was no contest at all from Team Sovereign. They just have no clue what's going on. There we go. Black Claw's been unleashed. Are they going to respond with a Ghost Ring for themselves? It looks like DefQ and Tezzaboy want to try and start it, and it looks like they will get it. Because I don't think Team Rise are going to. No, they're not. No, they've realised that Black Claw's been unleashed, and they don't want to try and take that Ghost Ring for themselves.
Question here: is Black Claw always going to go for mid? Oh, but before that, well, there's a quick pick on the bottom lane. But yeah, is Black Claw always going to push to mid, or in some is he? Yeah.
At the moment, always pushes for mid. They've tried various things in testing. They'll probably keep trying things. I won't be surprised if we see things different, and I don't know, 4.0 or whenever. But at the moment, he pushes down the mid.
All right, I see. Because now the blue team at least knows where this Black Claw is going to be pushing, but look at Official Hein have so much difficulty trying to go for that because it looks like it's going to be like a 5-1 split push coming in from the red team, and they're going to be very offensive onto the top side. But checking out the bottom lane, Tezzaboy is going full YOLO onto the bottom lane. Sync 1 has had enough. He's going to try to chase him down, but is the Ringo enough to actually go for the chase? Maybe that's not going to be a no. And now into the top lane. 4 members here from the side of the red team actually going to go and take out the turret already. Are they going to be able to take the bunker as well as Aeon takes a couple of shots from the Vein Crystal? Got to remember, guys, that those Halcyon missiles do hurt. Oh my gosh! Nice lamp coming in from DefQ. SMK again with the Afterburn for his life, but now Official Hein joins the fight. Tezzaboy has already recalled back into the base, so that's going to be another, well, not so much a disastrous fight for the red team, but look at the Black Claw, still 140 HP and is now battering down onto the Crystal.
Yeah, Vein Crystal has a lot of defense and a lot of health, so Black Claw will not be able to take it down. Noticing that the armories, it's very important to take down an armory. So in the mid lane, the armory has gone down. That means that this red wave of minions will constantly push in unless there is someone from Team Sovereign to defend that push. So it means that if you take down a couple of armories, then that's 2 armies, and that's 2 lanes. The enemy team just has to counter push, otherwise their lane is going to be pushed into. So that's really important. They got one of the armories. I think they were trying to get the second, which is why they went for a 4-0-0 split push as Ringo had gone down. Very aggressive, and it almost worked out, but perhaps they could have just pushed for the win with the Black Claw as opposed to trying to split push, because they only have power and an armory to take down.
Yeah,
it is hard to take down the Vein Crystal though when there's only one armory down, because the strength of the Vein depends on how many of the armories you've taken out. So it would have been tough to push in, I think.
Yeah, it is true. The Vein actually gets visibly weaker when the armories go down. It's pretty awesome to see how that changes. The Vein has 3 sides. They all are armoured, and if an armory goes down, one of the sides is less armoured than the others. And so Ghost Ring trying to be snuck away, but there is Vision. Here we go. Who's going to steal this? DefQ's got an ultimate. He uses it a bit early.
Tezzaboy, can he actually leap for win? It's gonna. He just gets blown up quite easily. There's also going to be usage on that gauntlet, putting them into an arena of pain. And here comes the red team, cleaning up house, gets the buff as well. And that's going to be a 3-4-0. Nobody picked off from the red side. And it's just disaster for the blue team as they look to go for that GG push.
Well, blue team do get a bonus of a top turret, a turret in the top lane, but I think that this Ghost Wing buff, red team are just going to try and push for the win. Mr. Jim in a bad position. He's backed off.
All of these auto attacks, you can feel like I'm already like grunting here, like ooh, that hurts. And now you can see Aeon as well. See, and they get themselves an ace. Wait, hold that thought. Quatervois, the last man standing, the Hail Mary defense, but no, the Vein Crystal was exposed, and they blow it up, and that's gonna be the first game for the red team.
Yeah, well played to both teams. In the end, it was red team taking quite a simple victory. There was almost enough split pushing from blue side to break open the enemy base, but just not quite enough. The team fights were won quite simply by red side, but I think the main reason why red side had such an advantage is because they started up the dragons by themselves. They didn't have an advantage, they just tried to start it up because they realized that no one else was nearby, and then they got themselves the advantage.
Man, I mean, like, the blue team tried to make something happen with Tezzaboy split pushing, and it kind of worked out okay, but the 4 other compositions that they have, because coming into a 5v5, you have, like, different team compositions that you can also use that's not same with 3v3s, and I think, like, this composition for what they had, they should have had something like, could have done a 4-1 split push that could turtle, quote-unquote turtle, like, the game, try to, like, stop the push of a 5-man red team, but it didn't work out well for them. The team fights did not go for them because SNK just kept getting every single gank that he wanted to, and he's like, what, 14 out of 18 kill participation? That's what, 80%? That's crazy coming in from him.
Yeah, that is what the Glaive can do, especially when you build multiple spell swords. I love to build multiple spell swords on Glaive. It's such a fun build, and in 5 vs 5 it works so much better because in general, chasing a kill is not as good as letting them get away and trying to get an objective. Especially with someone like a Glaive, if you try and chase that, he's probably going to get away anyway, and then you don't get the objective which you would have got for just letting him run away and then trying to push a lane. So that is something that is really hard to get out of the habit of, because in 3v3, chasing kills is normally worth it, because you get the kills, you get 60-second death timers, and you can do whatever you want with it. But in 5v5, you've got so many more heroes to kill, and they have so many more places to go. It's really hard to try and find them.
Yeah, exactly. So, wow, red team takes the first game.
Yeah, it was pretty convincing. Anything else to say, Edmund Fish, you think about that game that people might want to know about?
I think one of the things to keep watching, and it's tough to see, but if you watch the decision making that's going on, so I think I agree. I think that, but part of what made that work was SNK's decision making. He would spot opportunities and he'd go straight for that jacket. He knew that he could go take it, and he could probably take it himself, and that the rest of his team was keeping him busy. And that sort of decision is what changes the course of the game.
Mm. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Though it's very important to note which heroes can solo objectives. Someone like a Jewel, a Glaive. If you can solo Blackclaw or Ghostwing while your rest of your team is just doing a 4 vs 5 fight where they're not really fighting, they're just making sure they know where everyone is, that can be really effective. Thank you for that, talking about the first game, Azurai and Idmon Fish. Now we're going to be heading to a quick break, but don't go anywhere, because after a very, very, very quick break, actually, we're going to be having an interview with Chingy. So good, we'll see you soon.
Even in its pre-alpha state, our art team composed of veteran industry ninjas have outdone themselves. From the ancient Gothic gazebos near the spawn platforms, the gurgling rivers, the mysterious jungle, to Black Claw's den, Sovereign's Rise is nothing short of beautiful. Some of the savvy amongst you might also notice that Vainglory 3.0 also includes a near-industry first, Fog of War on mobile. Yeah, you heard right. Fog of War! Our CTO Tommy and the core engineering team have achieved this paragon of MOBA game mechanics through nothing short of tireless commitment. You have to understand, Fog of War for us was never just about making it work. We wanted to make it work well. And that meant it needed to live up to our unapologetic standards of beauty, excellence, and most important, performance. There's a reason why no other MOBA on mobile has been able to achieve this holy grail to this level of excellence. Traditionally, the calculations to perform and render Fog of War on handheld devices has been nearly impossible to do without making your frame rate grind to a halt and make your phone melt through your table. Many games have tried it and failed, but we've done it. Vainglory 3.0 is proud to debut this much pleaded for feature as part of the mobile-ready Evil engine and exclusively for Vainglory. And this stuff doesn't even scratch the surface, folks. I honestly could spend the whole video talking about the art and graphics, but hey, I only had one gluten-free cookie. So I gotta talk at least a little bit about our development plan and some juicy secrets behind the creation of 5v5. Rumors and whispers have abounded about how 5v5 plays. Vainglory has always been about crafting the unapologetically authentic and best MOBA experience that we as developers believe is possible, while at the same time making the best choices to keep the game approachable and friendly to new players. So when we kicked off development for 5v5, we started with that core principle in mind. Both veterans and new players alike need intuitive controls and much more tactical information in 5v5 than in 3v3. To solve some of these problems, we took a unique approach. All players will play from left to right. This is done by clever mirroring of the art and camera even when you play from the opposite side. This allowed us to be more generous to the space and readability of the minimap, making it bigger and richer while having the confidence that for all players, enemies will still appear on the more empty right side of their screen. Don't worry, for those of you used to the minimap on the other side, there's an option to switch it back. But try it first. Play it and tell us what you think. With such an expansive battlefield, we quickly realized that our tried and true scout traps were no longer the most effective way of placing vision. 5v5 introduces a new vision item called the Scout Cam. While they don't explode like their Scout Trap counterparts, Scout Cams are more reliable, they live longer, and are harder for enemies to clear, giving them a much better feel for such a large battlefield. All players can place them using Scout Totems automatically included in their inventory. And yes, for you captains out there that love seeing it all, your Scout Cams can be upgraded to increase their charges, durability, and vision range. Wait, how much more time do I have? Okay, dang, I'm running out. Okay, but there's so much more. The creatures that live in Sovereign's Rise are new, vicious, and with game-altering effects for those brave enough to attack them. Gold Toad provides you with gold. Oh well, it's still a treant right now. I told you, we're still working on it. But it will be a toad, I think. Okay, trust me. Next are creatures that will enhance your crystal power, weapon damage, even health and energy. The jungle shop has evolved, taken to the skies. They've taken up residence near the river, here and here. Just as in 3v3, shopping is risky but ultimately very rewarding. Okay, you want to know a quick secret? See that gorgeous river? If you move with the river's current, you run faster. I am totally not kidding. It's pretty badass, especially when playing as Saw mid lane and need to travel south to help a buddy. How much time left? Okay, more secrets. Don't want to walk all the way to the lane? There are boots that actually allow you to teleport for that. Laning has new mechanics too, where we've introduced a new minion called the Captain Minion. These are these large guys at the end of the minion wave, right? When they are around, they buff the other minions near them. Taking out an enemy Captain Minion, but leaving the other minions sets up a slow push for a lane, enabling you to manage your lane pushes strategically. I haven't even gotten into the new Vein Crystal or its armories and defenses. That's right, you want a base race? Cause the Vein in 5v5 fights back, bro. And most importantly, Sovereign's Rise is home to a new monster, Well, 2 actually. Move over, Kraken. You're not the only mythic creature in Vainglory anymore. Meet the Storm Queen's dragons, Blackclaw and Ghostwing. Each with over 145 bones, 50 animation frames, and multiple PvP attacks, these dragons are the most complex creatures to ever have set foot in Vainglory. Both dragons will circle the map before landing at 7 and 15 minutes respectively. A courageous battle with Blackclaw wins his loyalty, sending him down the lane to crush and pillage turrets and foes. Conquering Ghostwing provides a team-wide mega boost, turning you all into terrifyingly powerful adversaries. Dude, these are what real dragons feel like. It's all in there. Spellbinding matches, visceral mechanical skill, deep rotational and tactical strategies, a complex vision game, and epic objective fights. And more fun than anything else on mobile. All with your favorite roster of 35 plus Vainglory heroes. With Vainglory 5V5, we set out to create the absolute cutting edge of not just mobile MOBAs, but mobile gaming as a whole. Because you mobile gamers deserve better. I know you've waited a long time for this. We hope you love it, and we can't wait to see you on the rise. Okay, I gotta go. I'm out of cookies.
Hello and welcome back from the break. We're here for some interviews with professional players. Starting off from Renegades, we're going to be talking to Chingy. Hello, Chingy. And obviously my first question for you has to be, how hyped are you for 5v5?
I'm definitely super hyped for 5v5. I really can't wait for it to come out. As you can tell, I have already been burned out from 3v3. So yeah, I'm just right now waiting for 5v5 to come out. Hype, let's go!
Let's go. As most people are waiting for that release to come out. It's so soon it's going to be there. But getting into some questions about 5 versus 5. How do you time your jungle rotations, given that the spawn timers are very different for all the camps?
So for me, I generally just prioritize on getting my second gold toad out, which spawns around 3 minutes if you clear your red buff and your gold toad at the start. And so generally I'll just try to rotate around and make sure I get back to the gold toad by 3 minutes, and I will rotate around the lane and often try to just look at the minimap, because when the camp spawn, right, there will be a blue circle around that camp, so to indicate that it has already spawned. So I'll just try to hit it back when it spawns.
Yeah, that is really helpful, those little indicators on the minimap telling you when your camps are going to spawn. And speaking of jungle, do invades work as effectively as they do in 3 versus 3, or is it a lot harder to execute it?
So from my experience, I don't think it really works out really well now, because the camp spawn way longer than in 3v3, and often it's very hard to predict when it actually spawns. So what I will do is I will focus on the lane pressure, and I will after pressuring the lane, I will just try to go to the enemy jungle for a while, and if it hasn't spawned, I will put a scout camp there and go back to rotating to other lanes.
Okay, so getting vision on the camp, seeing if it's there, then you might take it, but otherwise try and put pressure in the lane. It makes a lot of sense. Now, thinking about the kind of heroes we might be playing, what out of the meta heroes in 3v3 do you see coming through being strong in 5v5?
Definitely one of them is Flicker, who has not really been seen in the 3v3 competitive scene. But because in 5v5, the game will generally be around rotating and also team fights. And Flicker's kit is also about rotating and team fight. Because of the ult, they give you speed boost and also invisibility. And Flicker can be a really annoying hero to deal with. And also, like, in 5v5, vision is a really huge thing to cover. And yeah, Flicker, I think, will just become out of meta. It will become meta in 5v5. And also, another hero is Ju. Because Ju, Ju herself, right, she can do a lot of damage. And she has really good objective clear. She can do solo objective like the Black Claw. Wait, is it Black Claw? Yeah, the Black Claw alone, and also like speed pushing turrets. And also, if she wants to join a team fight, she can definitely do a lot of damage.
Yeah, definitely. Jewel hasn't seen a lot of play, but hopefully we're going to see that coming through. And on a similar note, what currently meta heroes do you think might fall out of favour?
I think Vox will fall out of meta in 5v5 because his range is quite short compared to other weapon carries, and he doesn't really do a lot of damage at the start. And also he isn't that tanky. So if he wants to do damage in a team fight, he has to be near to the enemy, and with 5 heroes attacking you at the same time, it's hard for the Vox to consistently do damage. And if he wants to split push, his damage isn't that high, and there are other weapon carries that can do the same job in split pushing, but better.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Vox. Not as good at split pushing, not as good as team fights compared to other heroes. Thank you, Chingy, for that interview. It was very helpful. And of course, we're all hyped for 5v5.
Woo!
Woohoo! Hello. Chingy, but now we are back waiting for the second game. It's going to be another game between professional players, a mix-up of the teams just to make sure that it's not too unbalanced and that everyone gets a chance to play with lots of different people. It's not meant to be that competitive, it's meant to be a bit of fun. But casting this game alongside myself and of course Ibmonfish, I'm going to bring in I Request a Duel.
Hello, hello. Great to be here with some Vainglory 5v5 action. And as you said, pro players indeed from the Southeast Asian scene. So should be a lot of fun indeed.
So speaking of those players, our question is, do you want to run through which players are on each of the teams, just to give the people an idea of who's going to be playing?
Yeah, so just a bit of a change up there between the first match and going into the second. We now have Chingy, Deft, SNKEA, Mr. Jim, and Uni over on the Sovereign side, going up against Quatervois, Sync 1 Spaghetti, and I believe now an Official Hein over on the Rise side. So slight change up between the teams, but as you said, it's all for fun, and that's what we're here for, to showcase some lovely 5v5 action. And you guys just had your previous match there that I was watching you cast alongside Asarai and Ibmonfish, and it's looking exciting. I've also had the pleasure of playing 5v5 myself, so going into this today, hopefully you can shed some light on that. But I know Ibmon has a lot more experience than I do, and should be a lot more knowledgeable in that sense.
Yeah, there's a reason we've got the analyst and coach from Renegades. They've had access for so long, since basically Worlds, and so really trying to help everyone understand 5 versus 5 more, understand what they're meant to do when the game comes out. I think in general it's going to be quite good. There's been a lot of show matches such as this to get people an idea, and I'm interested to see if people are if Rise is going to know what SNK is going to do. And if the solo and start the objectives early is going to work again, or if they would have seen the first match and gone, okay, it's very likely we need to get vision on these objectives. If we don't see any of the enemy team, it's quite likely they're trying to solo Black Claw or Ghostwing. We are now loading into Sovereign's Rise, or the second game, and once again, lots of prioritization on the weapon camp. We see Rise with 3 heroes there, just to make sure that if somebody tried to invade, that they are not going to be able to steal that weapon buff camp away. It's so important early game.
Yeah, definitely. Invasion is a big part of that 5v5 game, and you can see over on the Rise side that Quatervois Sync 1 starting up that blue camp soon to take it, and then meanwhile we have Spaghetti and Official Hein going over and clearing that red buff, and I believe a bit of a similar rotation coming out from Sovereign side. And with that, we do have the Ringo, Baron, Samuel, Glaive, and Arden going up against Lyra, Saw, Sky, Black Feather, and Kestrel. Now, looking at these lanes here, what I noticed in the previous game was you have this Roma always over in the mid lane, and yet sometimes I think we saw it was the Rise team used to have their Roma down in the bot lane, what would be their top lane, I believe. Ooh, Sync 1 getting caught out early though. Needs to be careful. Might not make it out of here. He lands for on point, gets the fortified health, going to dash to the minion, and let's see if he can get away. But Chingy chasing him down for the first blood, and he's going to actually have the weapon power buff to help him along there. And they're just, this is what I was talking about, the double Sky somehow getting taken out. So much action in the 5v5. I was just going to ask Ibmonfish actually about this kind of meta in the fact that you have these roamers and really it changes where the lanes get pressured.
Yeah, I've got to say one of the things I found most fun as a roamman myself playing 5v5 is that it's much more fluid. There's a lot more to do. You're not just sitting there babysitting a rogue who keeps overextending or something like that. Instead, you're thinking, okay, well, we've got some pressure going down in top. Should I flip down to bottom to try and relieve pressure there? Should I stay in mid and help my laner here? Where should I move? What should I do? It's all kind of go in some sense.
Spaghetti getting caught out by Chingy walking into the bush, and that's going to be a kill going over to Mr. Jim actually on his Baron. Does quite like to play that hero as well. And it's interesting to see the heroes that have come up once again in both games. We're seeing Glaive, Samuel, and Lyra are just being played quite a lot in 5v5. There, we knew Glaive was going to be strong, so much mobility. Lyra obviously has quite substantial heal, but I'm surprised that Samuel's been picked up in both games. Do you reckon that's just because of his ability to be maybe a flex pick? You can put him into the jungle, you can put him into any of the lanes, really. I'm sure Samuel would be kind of okay at that, because he doesn't see that much play in 3v3. He sees quite a little bit, but being played in both games is very interesting.
Well, so I think... Oh, sorry. Eddie,
yeah, what makes him work in 5v5 is that he's got quite a lot of sustain. And top lane is a hard lane. So top lane is probably the hardest lane in terms of keeping it up, because you've got a lot of pressure, and because you're playing against the enemy bottom lane, and the enemy bottom lane has usually got a weapon power buff, and it's also the jungle that the enemy jungler is more likely to be in, so you're more likely to get ganked. So having the kind of sustain and the movement that Samuel has got makes it a lot easier to survive and to keep your lane not getting completely pushed away.
Mm-hmm.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Totally agree with that point there on the sustain factor. I was also looking more at the AoE abilities coming out here when using the Malice and Verdict as well. Just a very good poke hero, as you can see now that the Sovereign side pushing up onto this initial turret. But a lot of action going down in the jungle. Mr. Jim taking out Sky. He's now going to be 2v1, going to have to use the jump jets to get out there, jumping over that wall, and Spaghetti not quite able to find the Glimmer shot they need, and there's going to be the slow coming off the Porcupine Mortar, but the chase is on. It misses again. Sync 1 might be able to land, but on point. He's going to go in with the Feign of Heart and picks up a kill in the end. We're seeing 4-4, a fairly even early game for how hectic it is right now.
Yeah, definitely, but there's actually a considerable gold lead for Team Sovereign on the blue side. It must be just down to CS they've been managing to secure, which is very surprising because they're up against the Saw, so you'd expect Yinu to be in a really tough position, but he's farming actually a little bit better than Official Hein is, so that's really nice to see, and quite impressive from Yinu to keep that against the Saw, and he's in lane against the Saw Lyra. Such a disastrous comp to play against in 3v3, but Yunu's holding his lane pretty well, but that is going to be a death for SNK. He's going boosted cam first, so he has now picked it up, so he doesn't have any healing, and lovely rotation from Chingy to pick up the Lyra to trade captains.
Yeah, we did talk about what the meta would be going into, or at least what we speculated the meta would be going into 5v5 at Glaive, really showing off in this match so far. Already 2 kills to his name, but Kestrel coming along here. I don't think they got spotted out in there. Chingy, you might actually know they were moving around, maybe trying to do their budget emotes there, but Official Hein, knowing that Chingy's still lurking, is going to be able to back out. You see that scout cam is going to get taken down now by SNK, but very good placement there. And this is the thing with vision in 5v5. Now that everyone gets vision, you don't have to spam "we need vision," because it should be up to everyone to take care of their own. And right now, Quatervois going to go down to that Glaive once again, but Afterburn's just being massive right now. Def doesn't even need the Hellfire Brew to finish them off because they're already taken down. 4-man push up in this lane, really looking to get some objectives here, because so far, as you mentioned, although a gold lead being in favor of Sovereign, they do not have any objectives just yet, but that could change in a second.
Uni is currently pressuring 1 versus 2 in the top lane against a Lyra Saw. So I'm not quite sure how that's managed to happen, but Official Hein is in a little bit of trouble. And Glaive, wow, look at this dive in the mid lane. They get the turret, and nice play for 4 people, but this bot lane has just been completely left open, and Uni could be in a bit of trouble in lane. But the Official Hein being caught out doesn't look like it, and Mr. Jim, realising the bot lane is completely open, going to rotate towards it. Will Sync1 be able to get this kill?
It looks like he will. And now just a question for Fish about those turrets that Minimite just mentioned, that the dive in the mid lane. I was wondering, is the overall health of turrets increased because you have more players on the, I was about to say fold, but you have more rise, therefore more damage coming out?
It absolutely has. It's a lot tougher. It's quite hard to take down a turret, especially if there isn't a minion wave with you. So they're really, really tough if you don't have minions pushing them down with you. So it becomes there's a bit more skill in a way to taking down a turret. You've got to manage the minion wave to be able to get there to do it.
Yep, well, Chingy not quite able to land that or have a successful gank there, does get taken out. And a question following off the back of that one as well that I noticed in the first game that we had was Blackclaw. I did notice Asurai and Minima mentioning as Blackclaw pushed through the mid lane, saying, is it only mid lane? And with that kept in mind for as this current moment in the alpha is definitely mid lane only, does that mean these mid lane turrets have more health as opposed to the side lanes, and does that affect split pushing at all, or is it just something you have to worry about as soon as the enemy team takes up that Blackclaw?
I think at the moment it's just something you have to worry about.
Okay.
But there's a classic saying in MOBAs, which is that mid wins games. And to some
Run
degree,
it down mid.
You know, you just ram it down, and yeah, if you can have mid pushed, then you're in a really good position.
Yeah, something to notice that the mid lane turrets are the closest together, so it's a lot easier to back off to in the mid lane, but that also means it's a lot easier to push them down quicker. So you see Blackfeather is now taking down the bot lane turret. If he wanted to push a second turret, that is a lot further he has to travel in order to do that, whereas in the mid lane it's a lot easier to get multiple turrets in a row with something like a Blackclaw, so it does make a lot of sense. And whoa, one shot, one kill, taken down Uni, hasn't got any defense. And so that is a nice trade for the side of Rise, because they did lose quite a lot, even though Sinquan did manage to get the bottom lane turret. Now Saw, he's up against SNK. Is he going to be able to push down this turret? I don't think SNK is going to be able to do it. Yeah, it looks like Fischerheim will get... No, he's actually going to have to back off. Nice plays from SNK to stop Fischerheim getting that turret straight away.
Now, I was surprised there. You see the captain minion being under the wave, and now these other minions are joining up with that captain minion. It probably will fall within a second, but Official Hein will more than likely get this turret due to it. Goes for the shank and is going to follow up with the suppressing fire, but Uni coming along should be able to turn that one around. And now there's a question that as long as there is a captain minion within proximity of other minions, does that create this kind of aura effect? Because I've seen multiple captain minions sometimes get proxy farmed into one area and then just push massive waves in.
Yeah, that's right. So one tactic you can use is to sort of try and store up your captain minions and then push a big wave with them. And that can be really devastating. Even if it doesn't take a turret, the pressure it puts on that side of the map means that you can, go and attack another side of the map with relative impunity.
Yeah, because if there's a big wave with a couple of captain minions inside of it, if you don't have anyone with AoE clear, it's going to take them quite a while. Someone like a Ringo takes a long time to clear that wave. So it kind of forces not just one of the enemy team to go and clear, but it forces a specific member of the enemy team who has very good wave clear, like a Samuel, like a Celeste, or even a Weapon Glaive with crits, to try and clear that minion wave, so you have a much better idea of where the rest of the enemy team is. And it looks like we've got Samuel 1 versus 3 in the top, and Blackfeather 1 versus 2 at the bottom, who's going to be taking a fight.
Yeah, Blackfeather able to get out of that one with the Rose offensive. Meanwhile, we go look back up at Samuel, who Sky moving on to them with the target lock. Vasuri strikes Spaghetti following around, and they get the kill. But it's going to be the death from above, not necessary. It just seems like there's so much split pushing going on, and so many different fights breaking out at the same point. You see that, meanwhile, decide to push what is their bot lane. We see that Sovereign is pushing their own consecutive bot lane, and they're going to be able to take Sync down. They should be able to get this turret as well. They have the captain minion there, but looking at Rides, they're already moving on to the tier 3 to the base turret, and there's a lot of damage coming through. There's going to be the Sleep doesn't get put down quite enough, and Official Hein is spun up, should be able to take that with ease. And meanwhile, Sky being the only one standing to hold their base. This is a base rush.
Is crazy.
There's going to be the gauntlet going down. Death from above. Quatervois trying to stay alive in there, but they can't. Meanwhile, Uni did fall to the Rise push up in the top lane. They're going for the Armory. They should be able to take this one, but it's two people.
Oh, they're back in.
This is before that were up in the top lane for the side of Sovereigns. Both teams looking to back off now. Sword just finishing off that Armory. He is going to fight out with Death, but comes along Glaive with the Afterburn. And you see Lyra running for their lives from Chingy, but they've got that up soon enough. The triple spell sword comp that I know Mini Mitre has wrecked me with before, proving to work out as now going to go down. And Sovereigns actually holding on here and doing a fair fight. They are in the lead with gold and kills, but you can see that Rise really fighting back, so teams both even with those pushes, and that's something great to see. A lot of the time in these 5v5 matches, one team just seems to win it out, but I guess with these pro players playing, there's a lot of communication, a lot more rotation, and there's going to be Blackclaw going over to Sovereign.
Yeah, Quatervois tried to be sneaky with a forward barrage over the wall, did it away, but that's unable to happen. Ibrotfish, please explain what just happened. We had both teams' respective bot lanes just being pushed. It was like a game of chicken where both teams were just trying to win. And what just happened? As Official Hein's going to go down. But was it smart from both teams to try and do that, or should one of the teams back off and defend it?
Probably was, because if you'd backed off to try and defend, you would have had all the travel time involved in doing that. So you were risking not taking the objective. And now you can see what's happened. It's kind of happened again. So we have Black Feather pushing down in bot lane, right? And that's forced Ringo to go back to clear bot lane, and then Black Feather ports back. So now they're defending with a 5v4.
Because it takes the time for Ringo to go towards the bot lane, whereas it's a lot quicker for Black Feather to just port home. And Chingy go to 1 HP with the one-shot, one-kill. So yeah, it's just it's so complicated, everything you have to think about when you're playing this game, because you have to think, right, which lane are they most likely going to try and push? So Ringo possibly could have tried to go to that bot lane as soon as they took down Blackclaw, thinking Blackfeather was going to push it. But then if Blackfeather doesn't push it, you've wasted time of Ringo going to bot lane when he could have pushed Blackclaw. So there's so much exchanges and so many mind games going to be played especially between the pro teams.
Yeah, and you really have to give it to the side of Rise just there. They did manage to barely hold on to that Armory, but because they've done that, it really is going to change the way the game flows. If they had lost that, they would most likely just been on a downhill, I guess, the rest of the match. We can see that currently Sovereigns do have the lead, as they are going to go for Ghostwing now without any contestants, and it should be fairly smooth sailing from here. But I would say Rise still have a chance in this game if they play it right, if they don't get caught out like Now does, and they're going to use the Arcane Passage Shining Away, but there's no escape for them yet, and we'll have to see how the rest of the team holds up in the base. Surely Sovereigns are going to go into the base and finish off that Armory. It's what they're looking for, a very important objective. You can already see the aced up minions being pushed in on the right side, or I guess that's the incorrect term to call them now, but we'll hold on to that question for a second. As Sync 1 going down, but you see that Saw holding his ground, does get pushed back, but Chingy going low, the Glimmer Shot's not landing, the triple kill for Ringo, and they're going to be able to find not quite the ace as Lyra back up, but should be able to get the crystal and finish the game. 2 of the Armories down there, and GG, well played to Sovereigns.
Yeah, I think that play mainly happened because Spaghetti was in a bush hiding, but there was a scout cam in there, and so he had no idea that he was actually being seen by the enemy team. So Arden just immediately popped the gauntlet over the wall. Ringo 651 crit basic attacks. Kestra's not going to survive that for very long. So well played to Team Sovereign. They do take the win. Once again, SNK shot calling, just working out, and Spaghetti was trying to be a bit sneaky, but it wasn't quite able to work. What a crazy split push from both teams. They just went for a base race at 12 minutes into the game, but in the end it was the Ghostwing capture that gave them the buff, meant that Sovereign just weren't going to lose that team fight as long as they didn't get caught out. They couldn't dive turrets because they'd taken down all of the turrets, so all they could do was either attack the Vayne or dive the base, which is never a good idea to do. So they just waited people to come to them, took the Vein Crystal down, and played really well. So I'm really looking forward to see if we're going to see more of that mind games coming out in solo queue, to see, is it worth me backporting now with the rest of my team, or do we just keep two separate 4 versus 1s on the fold? Sorry, on the rise, as you said, Stuart, it's now Sovereign's Rise. What do you think, Ibonfish? Do you think that kind of thing might happen in solo queue, or is there just not enough? There's not enough communication to get your team to not panic when the enemy's pushing down their opposite lane?
I think it might happen, but I think that the thing that will make it difficult is that if you don't go and help defend, then the rest of your team is going to kind of feel salty towards you. Like, why is that guy over there pushing that lane out, farming away, whilst, you know, we're trying to push? God. So you could see how it could go disastrously wrong, even though it's probably the smart play.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's taking the mentality of, why are you farming, we're fighting. But that's not the problem. He's not trying to farm minions, he's trying to push down an objective. So that's definitely a mental shift that has to happen, and it's going to be a bit tough. But yeah, maybe in solo queue, don't always split push. Maybe try and help out your teammates for a couple of fights. But that is it for the second game. What a game between the pro players. We're now going to be heading into a quick break. When we come back, we'll have an interview. So we're going to see you soon.
Powered by the highest performance game engine on mobile, leveraging years of experience building the largest international competitive mobile esport, harnessing extraordinary community anticipation. This February, Super Evil Megacorp will unleash the category-defining 5v5 battle arena for mobile. The first and only true 5v5 MOBA on the mobile platform, featuring graphics that put the copycats to shame, rendered at a smooth, flawless 120 frames per second. A simple-to-start, highly accessible experience that matches or outperforms PC and console counterparts in every way, with ultra-precise, intuitive touch controls that make a MOBA feel like magic. Nothing diluted, nothing dumbed down, delivering through original and creative hero design, level design, item design, and objective design, the immense depth, skill, and complexity that a legitimate 5v5 MOBA should offer. Outplay and outthink your opponent like no other game. Superior gameplay and graphics. The most accurate and responsive controls. Deep, original fantasy storytelling, and unparalleled technical excellence with the platform-leading proprietary game engine and the highest frame rates. Super Evil Megacorp's Vainglory 5v5 sets the new bar for mobile gaming. Never settle for the lesser evil.
Welcome back from the break. We are here for another interview with a different player from a different team. They made it to the World Championships. They beat East Asia. They beat China. And they managed to tie to the eventual World Champions. You know it's going to be Impunity, the pride of Southeast Asia. We're here to talk to Quatervois.
Hello.
And so obviously my first question to you, Quatervois, has to be, are you hyped for 5v5?
Yes, I'm very hyped for 5v5. In fact, all of us has been waiting for 5v5 for a very long time. It's an especially long wait for those that are in the competitive play, because we really want to get into the competitive 5v5 again. And for someone who loves strategies and all the different types of tactics, it's definitely a lot of fun for me in 5v5. So
Yeah, I have to
I'm very hyped.
Lots more strategy in 5 versus 5. But let's get on to the questions. And first up, how important is upgrading your scout cam? Should just the captain do it, or should the carries and the junglers prioritize it as well?
I think it's definitely important, as vision will be a very key factor to winning, because due to the increase in the objectives and different control points in the map. And they're also really great for securing and increasing the snowball lead. But I think it's definitely more important to hold your turrets, such as especially the mid lane turret, because those really provide a huge vision on the map.
Yeah, turrets obviously giving you vision of an area.
Yeah.
Once your turrets go down, the fog of war kind of creeps towards your base, and it can be quite unsettling. And
Yeah,
so, do you generally?
And also, I think that either the top lane or the jungle should get scout camps when against heroes such as Flicker, who can have like team-wide invisibility, because that will definitely pose a trouble, as they will be clearing vision, and the support might not be able to plant enough to be able to highlight the whole of the enemy team.
Yeah, so do you generally prioritize defensive vision in your jungle, or try and be aggressive into the enemy jungle?
I think both is really important, but I would personally prefer prioritizing more on the aggressive vision, because I like to play aggressively along with my team. So we can definitely make more ganks and plays as we have more vision in the enemy jungle at their spawn times.
Yeah, if you know when the enemy is going to be in their jungle, you know they can't be in your jungle. Makes a lot of sense. How are you managing communication between all of the 5 players?
We are most probably going to have 2 shot callers, which is most probably the roamer, aka the support, and also maybe the top lane. So the other 3 will just be feeding information, such as maybe where the opponent jungle is, whether the opposite laner is rotating or missing. All this information will definitely help aid to a good, better shot calling for the pair.
Okay, and finally, once you've taken Blackclaw, taken that objective, what are your options to push down the lanes in terms of split pushing?
I think split pushing is very important and a very unique strategy, and definitely, I think when pushing down the lane with Blackclaw, I think that attack damage carry, or basically the weapon carry in this case, it should go with the support to the top lane, because the range isn't super high, but the DPS you can put out is super insane. So if the support should always stick with the carry, such that he can down the turrets without having the risk of being dived upon by the enemy team assassin or the top lane. So the mid should be pushed by the mage and the jungler on the team, because I think that the mage has very long range most of the time, and because of that you are able to poke and down the turrets from a very safe distance, and you don't really need a support to help you, rather than you probably need someone who can maybe dive in and out quickly, such as to get the enemy low, such that they have to back, so the mage can do more damage to the turret. Whereas I think because the top laner is usually built tanky, very sustainy, and definitely most of the cases will have a escape mechanism or a dash of some sort. So because of that, I think that they can go solo down in the bottom lane, because they will not get caught out and instantly killed.
Yeah, someone like a Blackfeather can get in, do damage, and then get out if they get caught out. Thank you for that, Quatervois, for your insights to the 5v5. We're all looking forward to it. It's coming very soon. With Quatervois, we are back for the 3rd game, and this time it's a little bit different. We've had 2 show matches between professional players. All 10 players on the rise were professional players, but now there's, we'll say, a non-professional player. As I said before, I won't call it a handicap because that's mean, but we've got Azurai on A side and Luxuria, the luscious Luxuria, who I'm sure has got some popcorn on B side. So it's going to add an interesting dynamic of people who they haven't played 5v5 for as long as these professional players have, and also they haven't played Vainglory for as long. So mechanics might not quite be there, and it definitely is going to be interesting how they're going to be able to listen to the shot calls, and how having someone else on your team is going to change the style of gameplay, because obviously professional games are all very different to how solo queue games will go and how most people's games are going to go. So it is going to be interesting to see how this is going to work. And alongside me, once again, I've got Jewel. How you doing? And Idmon Fish.
Still doing good, still doing hyped, and ready to get back into some more 5v5, as you mentioned, this time with a bit of a twist, which shall make it that much more spicy and enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm sure both of the casters are looking forward maybe not looking forward to playing, but looking forward to playing with professional players. They're probably not looking forward to the players that are on their enemy team. Speaking of teams, our question, do you want to run through who is on each team?
Yes, over on Sovereigns, we got Official Hein, Darwell, Sync1, Blue City, and Mr. Jim going up against... okay. We have Official Hein, and then Azurai. That's
yes,
correct.
Azurai.
Blue City.
Darwell is Azurai.
And then we have Luxuria, Truffes, or is it... Oh, wow, we got Truffes and Truffless. Of course you wouldn't split them. They're going to be on the same team no matter what. Tezzaboy 98 and Aeon 222 over on Rise. So we've had one game go to the side of... that is Sovereigns, the first match, I believe. No, first match went to Rise, second match went to Sovereigns. And Idimon, as you're joining us as, I guess, informant of sorts, is there any kind of, I guess, benefit on being on a certain side? I do know that they've mirrored the sides, so it should play evenly technically, but your objectives are going to be different.
So, to my mind, no, there's no difference whatsoever. The whole point of mirroring was to remove the relatively small bias that having a side actually puts in there. It is the case that you do have to think a little bit about which objective is where, and so that can be a bit confusing, especially on B side where it feels slightly upside down. But as soon as you feel comfortable with that, there's really no difference in play. You always feel like you're playing from A side, you always feel like top is top, you always feel like bot is bot, you always feel like mid is mid, but that's always going to be the case.
Yeah, I think the really important thing is the jungle locations, the jungle camps are all in the same place because of how the map is moving and how it's flipped on the enemy team. So it is really only those objectives that you actually have to think about. You don't have to think, okay, if I'm in top lane, that's the enemy bot lane. You just go to your top lane and you fight someone. So that's going to be pretty simple. And going back to your point, Alquestal, I really hope that Truffes and Truffless, they actually don't go both lane. Because if they're both going to be laners now, I've got absolutely no idea who's going to be playing who. Hopefully they're going to play a captain and a laner, so it's going to be nice and simple. But I'm sure whoever decided the teams chuckled a little bit at themselves when they decided to put them together.
Well, that is another thing going into the meta of 5v5. You've got two more lanes, so technically going into these matchmaking, if you imagine going into a solo queue environment, going into matchmaking, you're splitting off the player base that was before mainly even between jungle, roam, and carry. But now I feel that a lot more players are going to have to learn how to carry in two ways, more than one. But yeah, would you agree with that?
Well, it's quick maths, isn't it? You've got... Let's assume that there are 33% of people that play each role. It's not always the same because obviously there's the no one wants to captain in solo queue, but generally everyone knows how to do each role. So a third of the players know how to do each role. But now we're going to have 3 out of 5 people in some form of carry role. So it is definitely going to be either junglers or captains. They're going to at least have to know how to carry, because if you've got 2 captains in your team and the meta evolves that you have to have 1 captain, 1 jungler, one of those captains has to go into a lane, and so they have to know at least the basics of farming, rotations, and map awareness so that they don't just completely feed and lose that entire lane. So it's going to be interesting how perhaps some of the lower tier carries are going to... So the carries that were in bottom VG8 teams might be moving into the top teams because you're going to need 2 extra carries for each team.
Yeah.
That said, different heroes are playable now as carries, and you can play carry in a very different way. So it's not quite as bad as it sounds. It's not like we now need to have 3 Ringo mains on every team. But yeah, it is the case that you do need to be able to do your laning better than, say, myself as a roam main would habitually normally have been able to do.
Yep, and I completely agree with you there, especially looking over at Aeon 222 in the mid lane with that CP Sky rep in it. Really enjoy that. It is the same for me for my experience so far. As you say, you can take these kind of other heroes you wouldn't usually put in the lane, you might play them in jungle. you can still transfer that into lane, such as Samuel, which, you know, we talked about why is he doing so good in the lane. It's really that sustain that's keeping him there, and the AoE damage he's able to put out alongside that. But looking at the heroes going into this match, we do have Vaia, Catherine, Celeste, Grace, and Glaive, and that obviously being the Grace, Asarai, the special VIP guest for Sovereigns. And then looking over against Rise, we have Sky, Arden, Blackfeather, Reza, and Rona, and Luxura picking up the Reza. So when we look at interesting hero pickups coming through, I think Reza could really work out here with good gank potential, but First Blood will go over to the side of Sovereigns.
Yeah, definitely could be. There's Azurai helping out Official Hind to get the first blood in the bot lane. So it's nice. It's interesting to see that that Trophies is going onto the Captain Arden. So we are going to have a good idea of who is who. So you know, Arden's going to be in the bot lane. Official Hind could be trying to get a gank, but I doubt there's going to be anyone diving onto that turret. Especially this early on, those turrets do hurt an awful lot. And now Aeon's going to try and get damage onto Blukesty. I think that Vaia will probably win this matchup in the mid lane in general, because you have that dash, you have Arc Recursion to try and dodge out of the forward barrage, and you have longer range with your Stormforged Spear than the forward barrage. But as I say that, Blukesty's getting chunked down, forced to use Healing Flask, and it may even need to port home. Aeon doing some good damage in the mid lane.
Yep, and it really shows that any hero can eventually work out as long as you have the skill there, and I am so thankful that, as IDBomb said, we don't have to have 3 Ringo mains on every team, because, I mean, they're not the best personality, but Sky is going to go and want to Vaia. A bit of bias there, but you would expect that Vaia, especially players such as Spaghetti, previously we've seen, I know he's not playing in this current match, but has shown that Vaia in a 5v5 sense would be really strong. I think a lot of these stacking heroes that go late into fights, like if we're looking across the team, we're going to probably see Dragon's Eye on Vaia, possibly Celeste, and then over on the side of Rise, we're going to see it on Sky, and then stacking items such as Breaking Point on that Blackfeather and Verona. I like Verona pickup going into team fights. My only worry is if they're able to stick to the enemy. It will come down to combining CC and really trying to work together as a team to make that work out for them, though.
Official Hind going in against Trophies and Truffles, but there's Azurai, the MVP, going to come in, do a little bit of work, get a single stun on the Holy Nova, and now that is going to be a kill. Who's going to get the last hit? It will be Official Hind on the Glaive. Now Blackfeather's going to try and defend that bot lane turret that is being pushed down a little bit. I'm not going to forget that shade that you threw at Ringo Mains, our question. We'll talk about that later. But Azurai, will he get the kill now? Official Hind steals it away from him. Azurai did manage to get 1 kill, but Official Hind doing quite well on this Glaive. As we said, Glaive going to be so strong in 5 versus 5 unless he receives quite a bit of nerfs, just because of Afterburn. It's just such a good item. We're going to see spell swords on Official Hind as well as we normally do on a Glaive. Now Aeon being a bit of trouble in the lane. It looks like Azurai's not quite going to land that Holy Nova, and he's going to be able to just farm up pretty safely, unless this Celeste and Catherine are going to try and get a stun. Azurai will get stunned up. Aeon is going to get blown up by that Celeste, and now Tezzaboy is going to try and dive in himself onto Mr. Jim, but Mr. Jim will be able to back away, and that's a nice gank from Team Sovereign.
Yeah, I think this really changes up the meta in terms of item builds as well, because you might be looking at getting a reflex block a lot earlier than you would have otherwise when there's a lot of CC on the enemy team. You saw there Aeon just getting trapped up in multiple CC chains, and when it comes into the late game in those big team fights, it's going to be even more hectic and something more crucial to have in your kit.
I definitely agree that wait, there's going to be a fight up in the top lane. Luxuria, is he going to be able to do anything? He's being a bit defensive. I'm very surprised, Luxuria. You have your aftershock, go on. Mr. Jim hasn't picked up a tier 3 yet, but he decided to back off. Didn't want to get himself caught out. Luxuria is 0, 0, and 0. So definitely going for a defensive playstyle on this Reza. He has also got 7 CS, so perhaps he could be trying to rotate through his jungle a bit quicker. So I have to be mean. It's just all for fun. He's trying his absolute best.
Yes, can't wait for my turn, but looking down in that bot lane, we do see us, right? Has got 1 kill to his name, luckily, and Official Hein doing work on that glaive, but has he been off more than he can chew, fighting up against that Black Feather? There's going to be the knock-up with the Holy Nova. They need to back out as Aeon making the rotation down and making good use of that river movement speed. Bonus you get, but they went in too deep. The death from above not going to stun out Official Hein. Instead, they get stunned out themselves, and that afterburn. I think we're going to once again see that Spell Sword build coming out, and it's just too OP to not build.
Yeah, it's not the kind of thing that you get a lot of love for in solo queue. I think that it's wrong, but as you can see, it does so much damage just picking up those spell swords. I think spell swords in a pretty good position because it doesn't work on everyone. It's not overpowered as the old tornado trigger used to be, like on a weapon petal. But it's in a pretty good position. And now Aeon trying to steal away some farm. Official Hand does get the hit. Meanwhile, down in the bot lane, Blackfeather did push those minions up, so that could be tight going down low. But he's actually going to rotate, try to help out the Ardum, and now Official Hide's going to be focused. Truffy's seeing what he can do, but Azrai has got that ultimate. Lovely block from Truffy's to block the Holy Nova from Grace, and there's going to be the Divine Defension, but Azrai could be in a bit of trouble. He's going to try and back off towards his turret, but there's Skydeath and buff, and that is going to be a kill. Traded over to Team Wise. Eventually, Blackfeather gets the last hit, but meanwhile, Azrai was just baiting. That was all the was all part of the plan. Because now mid lane is going to be pushed down and looks like it's just going to go and be taken down completely. But Luxuria, here he goes. He's going to go in onto Mr. Jim Best as best he can. Official Height is going to go down to the sky, able to secure that shutdown. But the turret did go down, so if Luke's team Mr. Jim can defend this, it will still be a positive trade for Sovereign, despite them losing quite a few of their heroes.
Yeah, well, you could see that, Sovereign still taking a lot of damage on this mid lane in return. They need to be careful here, but they do find the safety of their turret. Here comes Sync 1. There's going to be the ultimate coming through from Baya, the Anvil's Hammer, and she's going to try find her way around. Meanwhile, looks like Azrai up in the front line, and we're going to see Sync 1 alongside them. Something I just realized, we have a double support or type of meta coming through from the side of Sovereigns. Although you might just is playing a bit of a CP Catherine, it's more of an offensive support in the first place that I really like this playstyle coming through, and I could see it working in just competitive and ranked.
Luxuria is trying to go in ham, but he did manage to get 1 kill on Celeste, and now he's going to back away. Meanwhile, Rona managed to get the top lane turret. Only 8 minutes in and so much is going on here. Sync 1 on Catherine. That Aftershock is doing a bit of work. Azrai is going to fall 3 versus 1, but there's been so much split pushing. We've already had 2 turrets taken down, and neither of them were from teamfight wins. They were just from trying to split the focus. But now Rai is trying to get their own mid lane turret. Will Mr. Jim be able to defend this? He's only level 7, so not quite has the range on Celeste. But a very hectic game so far. Is this out of the ordinary Edmond Fish, or is it just because of the compositions we've got, or maybe is it because of the players?
No, it's not out of the ordinary. There's always a lot going on, and you're winning in one part of the map and you're losing another part of the map. That's pretty standard. And often you can get into a situation where you're like, yes, we've got this advantage, and then you look up at the map and you go, oh, and they pushed 2 turrets. Well, we got that advantage. Wonderful. So yeah, there's always a lot to kind of keep awareness of, and it is. You will need to get really used to looking up and checking out and going, okay, what are they trying to do? What's going on here? How can we react to that? Or how can we stop it? Or how can we get something more out of it than they can?
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Luxuria once again getting another kill. 4-1 on this as his pretty glass cannon though, so could get blown up if he gets caught out. And it does appear to be, it's not really about what hero you've got, what if you've got an advantageous matchup. It's all about how many people you've got. If you're 4 versus 2, you're probably going to win, regardless of who those 4 are and who those 2 are. Now Azrai trying to do what he can. He gets a double Holy Nova onto Luxuria and Trophies, but he's going to back off under his turret. I don't think that bot lane turret is going to be pushed too hard. Aeon trying to do what he can, but Sync 1's going to come in, and that is so much damage from Bluxy and Sync 1. And there's the Blast Hammer. Secure the kill. Impressive on this Catherine. And one thing I want to look at is that Chuffy's built a little bit of upgrading the cams, but then didn't go for boosted cam first, as has Dara. They've both gone for Founted into another roam item, but just gone for the small cam upgrade. Is that very common to see, just maybe getting the cheap gold? I think it's 350 gold, but I'm not sure, for upgrading the scout cams? before going into a fountain item on Fish?
Sure, it's quite useful up there, your scout chems when you're the roam. It's pretty rare for anybody else to do it, but as a roam, it's quite handy because vision in 5v5 is very different than what we're used to on the fold, because you just have a lot less of it, and so that relatively small boost actually makes a big difference. And if you can see where the opposing team is, it makes it much easier for you to react to them. It makes it much easier for you to outmaneuver them. So it can win you the fights.
Interesting, Holy Nova from Azurai there. That will say that might, but it looks like the mid lane tower is going to fall. Blast from Catherine trying to do a bit of work. Tezzaboy's most likely going to go down. No! What? The healing from Rona is insane. The fountain comes through. The red mist doing so much work with that Serpent's Mask, and that is a tier 1 turret in the mid lane going down pretty much for nothing.
Yeah, and you can see Rise currently have this advantage for themselves, and you're talking about rotational. You talked about previously having the man advantage in fights, but that's where something can change very quickly, especially with the river buff giving you that passive movement speed that you're able to out-rotate the enemy. And as Idemon Fish said, if you had the vision to do so, if you had the information, then it's going to be that much more important. Just like now we see that Rise are going to start up the Black Claw, and if Sovereign knew about this, they might be able to steal with perhaps a Solar Storm from Celeste, but I don't think there's going to be any contest here, and it's just going to push that snowball kind of effect from Rise that much further after taking that initial mid turret.
Yeah, that is a completely free Black Claw and a bot lane turret for the Black Feather, so really effective plays there from Rise. They didn't really get that much, but they just managed to do a lot with it. Catherine doing quite well on stacks, up to 28 Captain of the Guard stacks on this Catherine. Thick one doing work. It looks like it's going to be after shot clockwork into quite a lot of defense, but Tezzaboy could get himself caught out. He's got that into the fray to try and run away. Solar Storm is going to just miss, but is this just a bait? There's 3 members of Sovereigns chasing this Rona. Is that the right play? Because Blacklaw is pushing down the mid lane. Official Hyde and Bluxy doing what they can, and it looks like actually these 2 heroes have so much damage. His Luxuria, is he going to get caught out, or will he be able to get away? No, that's a lovely play from the Fire to secure this kill. And are they going to get this Black Claw before it gets any turrets? I think it's going to get one. It's going to be close.
Yeah, Black Claw more than likely going to be able to take that first turret down, but as you said, meanwhile, attention just all across the map. You can see Black Feather did put the pressure on the bomb lane, but Official Hein very quick to respond to that, and it really comes down to that Glaive pickup not just being a good gank option, but very good for mobility. We talked about previous to the stream going up, we were thinking a lot of good heroes are the ones that are going to be able to traverse the map quickly, and that just means you'll be able to roam that much more, put that much pressure, much more pressure on the map at different places, and really just create that sense of urgency against the enemy team. Whereas right now, you can see that is why the side of Sovereigns are able to hold on up until this point, because they have those heroes such as the Vaya and such as the Glaive to be able to roam around and do so.
Yeah, speaking of Glaive, he's now trying to push down the bot lane, is going to get that tier 1 turret, but Joe's going to try and come back, stop it, but I do not think he's going to be able to get anything. Official High doing quite well there on the 3 spell sword Glaive. He's just picked up his 3rd one. Meanwhile, another turret goes down to the Rona, so this is really good for Team Rise. They're getting a lot for, not just for pushing, not even for winning team fights. Official Hyde, 1 versus 2, going to get that off, run away. Trophy's trying to do a little bit of work, but Official Hyde uses the boot. Solar Storm comes through, is going to miss most of the people. And Official Hyde has not had enough, he wants to go back in. So much damage, forcing the fountain and the block from Luxuria. He's going to have to run away, but there's going to be Azurai getting into the Holy Nova. Ultimate from Blaze coming out. And Tezzaboy's going to go quite low, but here's Rona, he's going to be okay. Here's Grace, so here's Vaya going to be channeling the Anvil's hammer. So many lightning bolts going to come down. Bluesy, will he be able to get away? Yes, there's going to be 1 kill. He's going to get the double for the Vaya. Can he try and do a little bit of work? It does not look likely. Aeon's going to get that shutdown immediately, stopping the Vaya from doing anything. Mr. Jim, last man alive, he's going to prevent the ace, but that is 3 members of Rise are up, and are they going to be trying to get anything from this? Maybe a Ghost Wing.
Maybe, probably not, just putting pressure on the lanes, I'd imagine, and farming up that much more. You can see already 51 48k over on the side of Rise and 47.3. So what I've noticed between a lot of these games is the gold difference, at least in these matches, these show matches we've had, hasn't really ever gone too different, and it feels like a team fight can really go either way there. In that previous fight, I really thought Sovereigns would have had it, and if I was doing the play-by-play for that, I would have been expecting them to win. Although you saw Blue City on the backline putting down the Ambul's hammer, and it looked like it was doing a lot of work, but I feel that because of the Rona's sustain as well as the Black Feather and the mobility on both of them, and hence why the Sky was also alive at the end there, just about positioning in these team fights and being so much more cautious about what's going on and your surroundings, and needing to be that much more reactive, which goes back to that early game where I mentioned the item pickup of needing to have a block. I think it's just crucial almost every time in this game, although you'll see that heroes like Glaive, they don't have to worry about so much CC coming out from the enemy team, so they haven't gone for a block for themselves. Instead, massive damage that's going to be going on through to the Rise.
Yeah, there's going to be the engage and the re-engage. Meanwhile, Blackfoot, remember Tezzaboy healing so much, trying to 1 versus 1 this Catherine as the Grace ultimately going to come through, and it will heal up Sync 1. He's probably going to be able to survive, but meanwhile Vaya gets herself a double kill. Blukesy doing some work, but Blackfoot did get the bot lane turret for Rise. Rona's going to go down. No way for Rona to get away from there. If you're against a multiple spell sword Glaive, he will chase you down, and no matter who you are, pretty much. Blackfeather now is going to try and see if he can do something, and it looks like Ghostwing is going to be started up by Azurai. Is his team going to follow him? It looks like Blukesy will. Oh, Jaffy's going to get killed on Blukesy. No chance that he's going to survive that. There's no ultimate from Grace, no fountain, and now is Azurai going to be able to do anything? He's waiting. Sync 1's going to come through. A little bit of damage onto Luxuria. The silence comes through now. Sync 1, he's only an aftershock clockwork Catherine. He hasn't got that much damage. Is the bubble? Yes, it will be enough. Luxuria kills himself on the Catherine, but Chuffy's is able to get the kill. Now Official Hide, Chuffy's has got 17 breakable sacks. He's up to max. Official Hide's going to try and do what he can, but the old point secures the kill. So much work on this Blackfeather, and he's going to try and get away. Mr. Jim's going to do a lot of slowing. There was a possible success. Lovely second stun from Mr. Jim, so he's going to be able to get away. And the Ghostwing was started up by Azurai and by Sovereigns, but now it looks like Rise is going to secure that objective. So one thing, Edmond Fish, is it looks like that these teams are prioritising Ghostwing over Blackclaw. Is that just because of where the fights were happening? Or generally, if you get an ace or get a few kills, should you prioritise one dragon over the other if they're both up?
It's a tricky decision. I think in this case it probably just happens to be where people are, rather than there being too much of a strategic twist to it.
Very interesting.
But what you want to use, so Blackclaw's great, pushing down the middle, and for creating a bit of split push power and so on. But the great thing about this is that buff gives you so much teamfight presence.
Yeah, we just saw the team fight was won by the side that took Ghostwing pretty comfortably. If it had been stolen away, perhaps the fight would have gone completely in the other direction.
It probably would have. And so now you're in a really good position. You can go up and you can take Blackclaw, or you can push in and push to win. What is a bit risky about this, though, is that they've split off. And so now there's a risk that Glaive might be able to steal it.
Yeah, Official Hide, he's lurking in the bush. Solar Storm comes through a little bit early. Glaive is fantastic at stealing. He's going for the kill. Is he getting the kill? But now Tezzaboy's going to try and get a return kill onto Glaive, so there will not be a steal. Blackclaw has been unleashed. And one thing I want to look at is that Truffles on this Blackfeather has got teleport boots. And so we have not seen anyone buy teleport boots in this in the show matches up to now. So perhaps that's going to be used as a backdoor. Tezzaboy going to try and jump in on Mr. Jim. Gauntlet comes through. Mr. Jim's going to flask and he might be okay. But Azurai has got himself a little bit out of position outside of the gauntlet. And now Mr. Jim's backing away. Nice stun. Getting a little bit of damage onto Trophies. There's that arc. Sorry, there's the ultimate from Vaya. She's going to try and do as much damage as she can. Minions are able to take down the turret. So in this bot lane, actually, a return turret was taken. Now Blackclaw is on to the tier 3. It's going to go down. But Tezzaboy's going to get blown up. And now Official High trying to do a little bit of work. But he's not going to be enough. Now Truffles did manage to get a kill on to onto Mr. Jim on the Celeste, and Vaya is going to return that favour by killing the Black Feather. Reza is forced to go up to that top lane and stop the minions taking another turret. That is a much less effective Black Claw push than Rise would have wanted. Looks like the armory isn't going to go down. Glaze able to get the kill on trophies, and I think they'll get this Black Claw, but will it get the armory? That's so important that for both teams that this armory either stays up or goes down.
Yep, you can see that Sovereigns are going to be able to defend that just barely, but right now that means it's so much for them to look out for that mid lane. Make sure no one even just makes it into their base. You mentioned those teleport boots earlier. I believe it's on on the Black Feather, so they're able to actually get into the base as long as they have any minion nearby, any scout cam nearby, and I believe. Can you also teleport to turrets? Although in this case, that's not where you would want to aim, but just as a general question.
Yes,
I believe you can teleport to allied. Yeah, as you said, them all turrets, minions, and scout cams, but not heroes, because apparently that'd be OP.
Yep, and so we do see that. Meanwhile, there was a bit of pressure up in the top lane against Rise, but they were able to clear out fairly quickly, so it's going to be an even team fight by the looks of it, and this could be the deciding team fight as we see Official Hunt going in. There's going to be Solar Storm, Gauntlet dropping down once again, immense pressure going through, but Fountain used early for the side of Sovereigns. You can see Luxury again split off, running right into Official Hind's claws. It's going to get taken down, and he meanwhile goes over that wall with the Afterburn to rejoin the fight, chasing down Aeon, but they've left the threat of Black Feather on their backlines, who is going to get that Fountain, might be able to take down Blue City, but it's just darting around the place with the Arc Recursion. He's going to get the double kill, could be able to turn this one around for the triple, chasing down Trufflers, who's very tanky at this moment, and there's going to be Arc Recursion just charged once to follow through, but they do get the unofficial triple, and I believe so far, if I'm not mistaken, the biggest kill spree we've seen in this match was the Black Feather, I believe, got a quadra kill earlier on, but we have not seen a penta just yet.
Nah, not quite. That was some lovely plays from Bluxley on this Vaya, able to take down the Black Feather first because he was such an important target, then switching the focus onto the Rona, and once Rona was down there was absolutely nothing Arden could do. So, well played from Official Hind to just bait. He baited out the block and the Atlas from Black Feather. The Black Feather didn't have those available when trying to dive onto the Vaya. Atlasing Vaya is actually really important. She has that quick attack speed, and Celeste did manage to take down a turret with a Solar Storm. Mr. Jim is nowhere near a turret, so it must have been a lovely Solar Storm to take it down. Ghost Ring has been captured, so the smart play from Team Sovereigns here is shop. Make sure port home if you need to, as Bluxley has just done. Then you either just start up Black Claw and take it, or just take a team fight, because they are in such a good position to try and win. They need to be careful not to overextend, because I'd Fish want to talk about how sometimes when teams get Ghost Wing, that can actually be their downfall.
Yeah, because you feel tough. You've got this wonderful barrier around you. You've got this increased heal. You feel like you're invincible. And so you go in a little bit deep, and then somebody else follows you in, and then somebody else follows you in, and then suddenly all of you are dead. And that advantage you thought you had turned into nothing. So you do have to use it quite strategically. You know, it's only a buff for a little while, so you want to be forcing a team fight. You want to be pushing objectives. If all you do is kill the opponents a bit and run around the map a bit, what was the point?
Now, also speaking about that buff, you did mention that only lasts a short while, but another factor to that is, we'll have to see as the core collapse landing onto two of the targets. They're just going on through. Sovereigns cleaning up the map here. Double kill. Official Hind taking a lot of turret damage, but there's going to be Divine Intervention keeping him alive. He should be able to get out of the base, and they're going to push it in mid. There's only Luxuria standing. Can he get the Penta? Maybe not. He's going to get hit with that afterburn and has to make it back to base. Does get silence, needs to heal up, but they're already into the armory. It looks like Sovereign's going to finish this game out here, and now Luxuria, the last man standing.
That's what to do it.
Solar Storm comes through. There's going to be the Vanguard to get him in, but Official Hind pushing him into that fight, and they're going to take for Crystal anyway. The GG's coming on through, and well played. Once again, the winning team going over to Sovereign. And wow, it's a lot of action, a lot of fun. I think I've forgotten the question, but I just remember it now. The Ghost Wing buff before we move on. you see there it does disappear once you dive into fights, so it does bring up that option, do you back out of the fight to let it come back up, and how long is that kind of wait time?
Yeah, so it's kind of similar to your boots. So when you're in combat, your boots give you a little bit less speed. When you're out of combat, that buff gives you an increased heal. So if you can pull out of the combat for a little bit, you'll be able to come back in with a lot more health. But if you stay in, it gives you the fortified health barrier, sure, but it's not quite as effective.
So that's similar to how Lifespring works in 3 vs 3. Once you get out of combat, you get increased health regeneration, and you can get ready for the next team fight a lot quicker. So that makes a lot of sense, and it also does incentivize you to maybe take an objective such as Blackclaw as opposed to just trying to fight. And we saw diving 2 turrets in an armory basically to try and get all of the kills. Like Shuri was able to sneak himself away, but that is the exact kind of play that if it is expected, if they know that they're trying to fight, and you can perhaps block some of the afterburns and you can try and make them dive too deep, that is the exact kind of play that can turn it around. It can mean that the Ghost Wing buff wasn't enough, you dive too many turrets, take too many shots, some of your main carries get shut down by the turret's damage, and then you kind of panic a little bit. That's really something that you have to worry about when taking Ghost Wing, but this time it was enough, and clearly Azurai is the best caster that was playing in that match. It was lovely to see both of them playing. Actually, it was quite well played. It was impressive from both of them. But now we're going to head to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have an interview from Spaghetti. So don't go anywhere. See you soon.
Powered by the highest performance game engine on mobile, leveraging years of experience building the largest international competitive mobile esport, harnessing extraordinary community anticipation. This February, Super Evil Megacorp will unleash the category-defining 5v5 battle arena for mobile. The first and only true 5v5 MOBA on the mobile platform, featuring graphics that put the copycats to shame, rendered at a smooth, flawless 120 frames per second. A simple-to-start, highly accessible experience that matches or outperforms PC and console counterparts in every way, with ultra-precise, intuitive touch controls that make a MOBA feel like magic. Nothing diluted, nothing dumbed down, delivering through original and creative hero design, level design, item design, and objective design, the immense depth, skill, and complexity that a legitimate 5v5 MOBA should offer. Outplay and outthink your opponent like no other game. Superior gameplay and graphics. The most accurate and responsive controls. Deep, original fantasy storytelling. And unparalleled technical excellence with the platform-leading proprietary game engine and the highest frame rates. Super Evil Megacorp's Vainglory 5v5 sets the new bar for mobile gaming. Never settle for the lesser evil.
Hello and welcome back from the break. We are here for another interview, and this time it is the one and only Spaghetti from Renegade. You may have seen him streaming 5 vs 5. He's had access for a long time. Obviously, Renegade won the World Championship of 5v5. We can claim that happened. They beat North America and they beat East Asia. Spaghetti, how hyped are you for 5v5?
I'm really hyped. Can't wait for the release.
Nice, yeah, as most people are. Just waiting for that release. It's right around the corner. So now getting into the questions. First up, do you change who your top and bot laners are depending on whether you're A side or B side? Or is there some other reason you might change it?
Well, right now we are switching up the top and bot laners depending on the hero versus hero matchup in the respective lanes. If our top laner can handle their bot lane without much difficulty, then and as a counter to the enemy laner, we won't switch them up. But if our top laner is having a harder time than usual or is hero countered, we will decide to either apply stronger jungle pressure or just switch up the lanes.
Yeah, because how the map works, obviously your top laner is up against their bot laner. That's something you always have to think about with the matchups. And so a new item in the game is teleport boots. And do you generally use teleport boots except for when you're going to do a backdoor?
As of now, we don't buy teleport boots except for backdooring because the cooldown on the boot is way too long to be viable, I feel. And it does not have its constituents boot sprint ability, which does not make it that good of a purchase in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so maybe the active of the sprint boots that we're also used to, a little bit too important to replace that teleport boots, except if you're trying to win the game. And so how are you managing communication between all 5 of the players in your team?
We have our wonderful analyst and coach, Edwinfish, teaching us how to communicate better by observing how we perform during scrims and then teaching us how to improve from there. Back at Worlds, we were struggling a bit at first, but as we scrimmed more with other teams, we managed to pull off a somewhat decent communication experience and won against North America and East Asia. We have much to improve on, and we believe that the team with the best communication will have the highest chance of winning Worlds.
Yeah, that was lovely to see those games. Communication is always going to be important, and it will be tough for everyone to adapt for 5 players. And finally, how important is map awareness to be a mid laner as you are yourself?
It is really important for the mid laner to have map awareness because the mid lane is situated in the middle of the map. The adjacent rivers and their buffs further strengthen the mid laner's ability to roam the map. Not to mention, since it's probably the closest lane to the jungle, the enemy jungle will most likely be camping your lane really hard, especially if you're a good mid laner like me. You will need a really good map awareness to prevent ganks. Conversely, synergy with your jungler is very important, and it can be amplified with good map awareness, especially when you need to rotate to other lanes to help them out and set up ganks. Because I believe map awareness on the mid laner is very important.
Okay, so just as important as map awareness is being a good player so the enemy tries to gank you. Thank you for that, Spaghetti. Fantastic interview. And we'll see you in another game soon. Our interview with Spaghetti. Hopefully he's going to be OP, as he said he always is, in this next game. And we have got one more game. We're slightly switching up the casters. So joining me alongside Eidmon Fish is Azurai this time.
Yo, I'm really like just going to the name Spaghetti. It's like just the meme, man. How did that even happen? It's so convenient. Like, it's spaghetti. Somebody touch my spaghetti.
I'm sure he's never heard that one before. I'm sure he's not tired of it at all. But obviously, Azurai, being the victor of the previous game, it was 100% down to you, not down to anyone playing Glaive. It was all your base plays that made you win that game. So what was it? What was your super secret strategies to win that game?
Just be the support that they need me to be. Like everything that the official time was asking me to do, I just did, and then I just bought like every support item I could get my hands on.
No, so you just I was interested though that you didn't go for boosted cam early on. Was it because you forgot it was an item, or did you actually think that you wanted Fountain and War Treads earlier?
Yeah, I wanted Fountain and War Treads earlier because we were always looking for fights, so I thought that it would actually be good. But I think like getting boosted and then the tier 3 item
being boosted, that's one way to put it.
Boosted cam, sorry. But I think would have been also good to get before maybe War Treads, but in the end it kind of worked out.
So, Eidmon Fish, what do you think about that captain build path? Do you think that we're very likely to see Fountain to War Treads being common, or Fountain Crucible being common, or do you think the boosted cam is going to be a priority first item?
To be honest, at the moment, I don't know. I've seen lots and lots of different people playing different ways of roaming in 5v5, and they've worked and not worked. And I just can't quite tell. I think Fountain doesn't have the same level of priority because you're not going to see the same kind of big team fights early on. You're more likely to see kind of laner and roamer going up against laner and roamer or laner and jungler. And so there's only really one person to heal in that fight. I've tried rushing Crucible a couple of times, especially against kind of really heavy CC comps like Azrai was playing on, and that's actually been pretty effective. But I've also seen roams who start out quite aggressive. So starting out with boots and then going to Stormguard Banner and trying to kind of contest some of the farm of the opposing jungle can be really effective on the right roam.
I can especially imagine someone like Flicker being extremely effective using boots and a Stormguard Banner just going into the enemy jungle, because as you said earlier, there isn't that much vision compared to 3 versus 3. Obviously there are more scout cams, but there's a much bigger map.
Yeah, even if you try to chase down Flicker, while he's hard to catch, there's lots of bushes for him to go invisible in, and you're wasting your time trying to catch the enemy roam while the opposing team is pushing your turrets, getting more farm, and so on. So it's a kind of lose-lose. Either you lose your jungle to him, or you waste your time shutting him down. It can be really tricky.
Yeah, it does make sense, but no one has had the guts to play Flicker in these show matches. Probably because they need to spend about a couple of days just learning how to play him. Like, what does his A ability do again? I haven't played him for so many patches, but I do think he will eventually. I think he'll find some kind of way onto the rise, and instead of playing Grace as everyone always does, maybe we might see a Flicker in this game. But I don't know, Azrai.
I mean, I just went for Grace because like she's the
easy.
Yeah, the easiest hero I could put my hands on, and then they were like, just get the tank. So yeah, but like I don't know, like Edmund was talking about how it's gonna be more diverse than just going for like more team fight oriented items. So maybe we're gonna see something like that. I'm kind of curious to see like how it's gonna mix up. Like maybe there's like one hero that's gonna go for full support items, like what I did, and then the other one's gonna go for the Stormguard banner, so that he can go for the invades, and then it'll just like mix well as the game progresses. But you know, still have to see that.
Yeah, perhaps it could be which captain you're on, deciding which build path you want to go. So it would be nice for captains to actually have something to try and decide in matches, because it's done a good job of making it so that there were more than 5 captain items. Because it used to be you got Fountain, Crucible, Waterheads, Atlas, and that was it. And if you didn't build that, you were going to lose the game. So there are more options to build, and in 5v5 there are even going to be different orders for different captains. So that'll be nice for captains to have meaningful decisions to make, as opposed to having to get Fountain first and then you kind of have a choice, but you don't have a very large choice. There is also the option of a captain building a little bit of damage, not going for full, as we saw with the Catherine going Aftershock into Clockwork. Perhaps if there wasn't a Grace and a Catherine on the same team, we might have seen that Aftershock into more utility. So you kind of split the captain items up. Maybe Catherine gets a Crucible, and then you have a Glaive that gets a Fountain, and you try and split up the captain items so you have more damage threats for the enemy to worry about.
Actually, like maybe a thought just popped into my head. What if like if you have like maybe 3 captains, all 3 of them would have gotten Fountain? Does that stack up, like the heal?
Well, if you time it right, then yeah, Fountain lasts for 3 seconds. And ticks once a second. So if you time it right, then sure, that could be really useful in late game team fights. But the problem with that idea is that you're not always going to be in a late game team fight, and the fight has to last more than 6 seconds for a third fountain to be useful. So that is one of the problems with having multiple fountains. Is if you can't time it right, it's just kind of wasted, because you want a fountain when everyone's really low.
I see. Well, again, we just have to see what actually drives with these players, you know.
And once again, the early game rotation, it's very, very standard. I'm looking forward to seeing how some early game junglers might try and switch this up. One tactic that I think could work is going beneath where the Ghost Ring will spawn, and then going around there to try and catch out the enemy weapon trio. Because as we know, the weapon trio is what everyone's trying to keep secured. So that's why they have 3 people. So maybe actually, if you try and steal their crystal trio, that could work out. But so far, every rotation has been defensive. Everyone's got their own jungle, and no one's quite tried to invade. Probably because no one's quite sure where they're going to be able to invade and where there's going to be lots of vision. That is one thing to notice. Truffy's now is in the bot lane against SNK with Luxuria on the Churnwalker. That is a bold pick from Luxuria, trying to land those chains. And I think that Truffy's, even though he's 2v1, even in a 1 versus 1, he'd probably win this because he has the weapon buff, whereas SNK has the crystal buff. Do you agree with that, Edmund Fish?
Yeah, probably. I mean, the weapon power, certainly in early game, is the better buff to have. So it usually is the way. It usually kind of comes out to the advantage of whoever gets that.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but it's actually not going to be question early on in that bot lane. Like, Show's just going to port home, get himself the upgraded cam. It is actually called a buffed cam, which is the tier 1 upgrade. It gives you some nice bonuses, so true sight immediately, so that means that if you put it in a bush, you'll see enemy scout cams immediately, which is a nice upgrade for captains to do onto their scout cams.
Yeah. He's actually going to rotate now to the top, maybe put some damage on Blackfeather here, and yeah, actually I did see that the effect on the buff cam, I think it adds more range as well to the vision, so that actually really helps out if you're trying to just spot out your opponents as well.
Yeah, a normal scout cam has 5 meters of vision radius, and a buff cam goes up to 7 meters vision radius. So it does give you a little bit more information if somebody like Uni is coming to try and gank you, or Chingy coming up as a Blackfeather towards your laners. And that's really the important bit of scout cams early on, is just knowing where they are and where you can safely farm in lane. Of course, Jill is playing the Arden, so we're seeing this time both of the casters are playing captains as opposed to trying to play a jungler. There is, I think, playing the captain, it does make quite a bit of sense because you kind of just go wherever you think someone needs help. It doesn't matter where the farm is. You just go to a lane that you could try and keep them from dying. So it's a pretty smart idea.
Yeah. The other thing I kind of noticed here is that there's so many, like they're kind of like showing already what kind of core picks already is going to be in 5v5. Like, you've seen most of them have a lot of emphasis on getting the first pick on Glaive, and then maybe Rona, and then maybe a Samuel. So these are maybe like heroes to look out from, because like one can go for a good split push, one can go for like really good ganks, and one can just sustain in the lane by himself, even though he gets like maybe ganked by 3 people because of that Drifting Dark and, you know, Madison Verdict.
One thing I want to point out is Quatervois has not gone from 3 Spell Sword Glaive. He's actually gone Tension Bow first. So that's a very old school Glaive build. Meanwhile, Bluxty, once again on this Via, he's managed to lock that in both games. So in the 3rd and 4th games. So he's clearly comfortable on Via. He's, as we know, a very strong hero. But I don't like Quatervois' build. It's just personal opinion that I think it's not as good as Spell Sword Glaive. But of course, Tension Bow is a great item. He's going to have tons of burst. And it's going to be good against SNK Samuel as well, because he's going to be able to have a lot of sustain. So if you can burst him before he's able to sustain, then that could work out well.
Iron Crusade Jewel, like, this is what's happening to the other captains. Like, compared to mine that I built like all for team fight, they're building more for like getting as much vision control as possible. I think he went for the 2nd vision item there.
Yeah, he went for the buffed cam and for the multi-cam, which
the multi-cam, there you go.
Other item that builds towards a boosted cam, the tier 3. Luxuria is actually similarly not going for Fountain first, but it looks like he's going towards maybe a Storm Crown, a Contraption, maybe even a Clockwork with the Hourglass. But no, he is actually going to go for boosted cam. So both captains deciding that vision is more important to them than going for team fights. It's definitely something that perhaps if the enemy's getting a boosted cam, you want to counter it with your own, otherwise they're very likely to win the vision war.
Yeah,
so it's kind of a waste of gold for both teams, but if one team hadn't have done it, they would have been too far behind.
Yeah, I think the name of the game for them right now is to have as much visibility as possible, and plus, like, aside from like getting more range and I think like more hits, life point hits on the cams, they actually have more stocks. So like I think from 2 you get 4 now. So that's also like a thing. Maybe that's why the reason why they went immediately for that boosted cam.
Yeah, it does double the amount of cams that you have available and reduces the time that they take to respawn. You need trying to be a bit aggressive into the jungle, seeing if he can steal away a camp, and he does manage to get the hidden camp, so that's nice for Uni. Now Quatervois, seeing what he can do, but meanwhile Rona is able to pick up a kill onto Ringo. Nice rotation from Spaghetti and from SNK to pick up the slightly lost Truffless on the Ringo.
Yeah, the Zerus playing a bit more passive now. Like a while ago, he's been super aggressive, or the previous game he's been super aggressive with the Reza, but now with this Troid Walker, he's just been trying to roam around, maybe just hook people in, put some little bit of damage, try to control the lanes, because like I guess like compared to 3v3, like me having some experience on 5v5s, like being able to control the waves, like there's what you call the lane equilibrium. That's something that's going to be very important, I think, in 5v5. Just because if you leave a lane and then the lane equilibrium is actually pushing for your opponent, then you're going to lose lots of HP on your turret. Like compared to if you controlled it before, you know, pushing for an objective or something, it's going to push for your favor. So maybe that's what Lazur is doing right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree that lane management is now a thing, whereas in 3v3 it was push 90% of the time. Yeah. There were some occasions where you could freeze the lane, but quite more often than not, if you tried to freeze the lane, you just then get caught out, and if you lose a fight, you then lose the turret immediately because the lane's been pushed when you're trying to freeze it. So it's definitely nice to see how that's a thing. And Chingy is very risky. What he's doing there is he's trying to proxy farm, which is take the minions before they reach the turret so that your minions have a free push. It's a great idea if you can get away with it, but Bluxty spotted him while he was taking the minions and managed to kill him because he had nowhere to go. Chingy was just stuck between two turrets, which is a great place to farm minions, but it's not a great place to have a team fight.
Yeah, on the other side of the spectrum, Joe, Quatervois and Truffy's actually doing the same strategy, but now with a two-man rotation, making it quite easier for them to actually proxy that lane, and then going up against a Samuel, you know, they can just actually dodge out the Madison Verdict and then be able to get away with all of that. Then I guess that's the way that you can actually make a proxy strat work out more effectively, so that you could at least you have two people with you, or at least you know how less aggressive the laner would be. But there's going to be a little bit of a fight here in the mid. It's going to be the 1-for-1 trade, and Spaghetti's got to be able to skedaddle on out of there, trying to run away using that river boost or river movement speed to his favor. But of course, his enemies can do the same. He's going to try to go 3v1, and look at that lifesteal coming from Spaghetti, and nobody will say touch my spaghetti no more. But now Deft as well as Quatervois joining onto the fight, and that's going to be very aggressive here. 3v1 onto Chingy. He's getting bombarded from left and right. Can he get the last hit onto Luxuria? Poor Luxuria, but Quatervois will win out the day here for our Sovereign side team. Good start from them.
Yeah, in the end, 2 kills for 2, but Samuel was able to get that bot turret, which is really important for the side of Rise. The gold lead is slightly in Sovereign's favour, but the turrets are pretty much dead even. That's pretty good for both these teams. Then no one is too far behind, and yeah, as you said, the Rona was using the river move speed buff to go from mid lane towards the top, but then realised, wait, the enemies could just use it as well, just as quickly as I can. So turning around in the bush, made some lovely plays in the end. Now Quatervois trying to rotate up, Spaghetti saying having none of it, and that's the problem with your with this glaive build. What, tension bow into Serpent's Mars? Is this a new meta that I'm not quite aware of? Fish.
It's not one that I'm used to, but Quatervois is renowned for his kind of wizardry at creating new builds that work in interesting and wonderful ways. So who knows? Maybe it is.
Yeah, maybe we're going to see it working. He did fall to the Reza though. Union SNK tried to get the turret. He's going to manage to sleep up Bluxity. Oh, Crested Jewel! He's going in! He's going to get the kill onto Bluxity! Oh, Crested Jewel won the 1 versus 2 somehow on this Arden, so nice place for him. He must be happy about that.
One thing that's worth noting with what Luxuria is doing, which is quite smart, is that he's using minion candies to keep that wave really strong. And so, because of that, even though they've been really losing the lane, they've lost a couple of people in it, it hasn't pushed them at all. And now they can turn it around, and they've got a really strong lane to push.
Yeah, that was very smart plays. There's in the ultimate. Luxuria wants to kill Wild Crest. Care about any of the.
Wow, he's actually going to use that ultimate of his.
Yeah, well, ultimate was used by Luxuria as well, so the ults were traded, and you can tell that there's definitely a little bit of focusing the captain just for the fun of it. Spaghetti could be in a terrible position. He's 1 versus 4. Can he run away from this? Okay, he's not even going to bother. He's going to try and do as much damage as he can, but he's going to go down. Unfortunately, somebody did touch Spaghetti, and he's going to go 1 versus 4 and die.
The memes. But now Quatervois is actually going to try to look for more kills for his team. SNK already in the safety of his own turret, but coming from the left side is going to be Uni bursting down onto Blue City, and he just explodes onto the Varia, punishing him for that misposition, or rather just finding an opportunity in the midst of it all. And actually, just a question here, again, since we are on a 5v5 map, from a 3v3, there's always that point wherein 5v5 MOBAs, you know, always have that like control area, like turrets not only allow you to just keep taking down turrets, not only allow you to like keep pushing the lanes, but more like they also allow you for territorial control, like because like for most MOBAs, breaking down the tier 1 mid is the most important because it opens up the top and bottom portion of the jungle. So you think it's gonna be something that's gonna also be relevant here in Vainglory 5v5? That's my question for Edmond. Sorry.
Oh, no, absolutely, and yeah, I agree. It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference as well because it allows you to control the river, and controlling the river gives you speed. So you rotate more effectively. It gives you easy access to the dragons, the big objectives. So yeah, no, I mean taking out mid turret, it's a really big deal. If you can do it and you can do it early, it puts you in a really good position.
So that's where the weapon buff camp is as well, isn't it? Just off the river. So if you manage to take down that tier 1 turret, perhaps you can try and steal away the buff camp. But it is a little bit harder. I definitely agree with those because if you can sneak a dragon, we've seen so many times. It's quite uncommon in 3 vs 3 to have someone sneak a Kraken or sneak a gold mine. It happens a little bit, but nowhere near as much as these dragons are being able to just be taken away. And Uni, diving turret's able to get Truffless, and the tier 1 mid turret, as we said, it is quite important, is going to go down.
And that was a kind of textbook split push that went on there as well. Spaghetti pushed in top lane, dragged the opponents to him. They had to come to shut that down. They couldn't let him keep pushing, but that pulled them away from mid, so mid could then get pushed.
Chingy though, look at that, joining onto the fight, and Lassuria is going to be the last man from that engagement to not survive. Okay, he's not going to be able to escape from that one, and Blue City does the damage onto the Reza, but at what cost, as he also pays the price of his life to actually just get that one kill. And you can see right now, Team Rise getting quite a bit, 6 kills ahead with almost 3,000 gold lead.
But that is going to be Rona going down to the sky. As Edmund Fish was talking about, Rona did split push the lane, and then there was a very long between Rona and Sky, which Sky is almost always going to win. But it just took DefQ a little bit of time to be able to actually secure that. And yeah, so it's nice place for both teams. We're seeing a lot of trades in the team fights. We're not seeing many team fights where it's just a clean win, and that's mainly because of how split everyone is. They're not being together yet. It's not late enough in the game where you want to have all your team members together, because then you're just vulnerable to split pushing. You want to have them splitting up, getting as much as they can around the entire map. But now Ghostwing has landed, so 15 minutes in, who is going to get vision control on Ghostwing, and who's going to try and sneak it away? We see that Rise has vision on Blackclaw, no one yet with vision on Ghostwing.
Yeah, I guess that's also the reason why you wanted that early boosted camp. It's just so that it's in preparation for these bigger objectives, because like for the Kraken, everybody can see it right on 3v3, but because there's like this, let's say like the Ghostwing pit and the black the pits, so you need to at least have vision around those, plus in the rushes, so that you can actually know where your opponents are. And maybe that's the reason why, you know, you want to get that very early boosted cam, just to get again that vision.
Yeah, certainly. Look, Shoya able to pick up a kill onto the Black Feather. I'm sure Blix did most of the damage, but meanwhile, once again, Spaghetti does not care about team fights. He cares about turrets, and he's just going to push down the top lane. Able to pick that up.
I love that though.
Oh, look at the damage! And look at the damage once again on this Rona. One thing we said was that we're seeing a meta evolving, and Rona is very, very much in the meta. Samuel doing work, able to get himself a double kill, and so it looks like it is going to be Rise with the advantage after everything has unfolded. Rona obviously did go down, but Spaghetti just does not care. He'd happily have a negative KDA as long as he can just push down the turrets. That's something that is very different for 3 vs 3. It's going to be tough to adapt to. because it's maybe the enemy team has to be ready to defend against these split pushes, which is possible, but then you might just lose the team fight because whoever is the first to go towards the turret has the advantage of time because they're already there, but it takes time for you to run across the map to get to stop that pushing.
I thought they were actually going to go for maybe one of the bigger objectives, but they're just trying to get these jungle invades, and Quatervois is going to get caught in the middle of that one. Fast invade coming in from the red team, rather from Team Rise. Maybe this is just them trying to look for picks, and then after that, they go for the Ghostwing or either Blackwing, but, well, they're going a little bit too dangerous in the territory of the turrets for Team Sovereign, and they pay a little bit of the price to the 1-for-1 trade. Luxurio actually surviving. Good response for his teammates, so he's gonna live to fight for another day.
They were just able to get away, but the same cannot be said for Chingy. Our shield is going to fall as well to the Ringo. Some nice plays from Luxurio to keep himself alive, and he's like, nope, Rona, I know exactly what you're going to do. There's a scout cam to stop you trying to push that lane up. So smart plays from Luxurio there. He's learning his second game in 5v5 show matches is being much better than the first one. And one thing I want to point out is he did a lovely ultimate of Chermok, a lovely trespass, but it wasn't blocked up by anyone except SNK, but SNK didn't have a chain, so he wasted the block, wasn't able to, so that really made Chermok able to get away. But once again, some kills were traded over, the gold is dead even, the turrets as they were before, and no one's going to go for any dragon. So it's really kind of a waste from both teams that no one tried to take anything from.
So this is, I think, is the point wherein you, like, if you're respecting the composition of your opponents, or maybe just you're not confident enough about it, you're gonna wait for a team wipe or an ace rather before trying to get this, or at least like maybe a 4-man pick off, so that at least you'll make sure that nobody can try to contest that big objective, because like me personally, from playing the game, Blackwing and Ghostwing are really like super painful objectives to try and take if you don't have enough damage, and if you're like having opponents who try to contest it, this is going to be even harder.
Yeah, I definitely think that both teams are being a little bit passive. They definitely could try and solo an objective, as it looks like we are seeing, and Arden is able to last hit. This could be Luxury in a bad position. He's going to be able to land the chains and get away. It looks like he's got so much health that he is going to do quite well. Lovely block, I think. Not sure who boosted that, but it blocked the Churnwalker ultimate. So well played, and it looks like Ringo was able to pick up a kill. Luxury is now back up to like full health. This Churnwalker has so much health, but Blacklaw was unleashed and is now marching down the mid lane. Meanwhile, Rona, once again, Spaghetti he does not want to fight. I don't think Spaghetti's been in a team fight this entire game. He has split pushed 3 separate turrets at least that I've seen, and now we see Blacklaw is able to push down 1 mid lane turret, won't be able to get a second, but still a pretty successful push for Team Rise.
Do you think this is like the point in time where in Team Rise has that composition kind of locked in? The one I was talking about a while ago when we were casting, I think, game number 2, wherein you wanted to go for that 4-1 split push? Because I was kind of thinking, like, the Rona can split push by herself, that's really good, and then the other 4, you have yourself a Samuel that can kite, a Blackfeather and Arden can be in the front line, and then and actually, that's about it. Like, they can have all that dual potential for those 4 people and still survive in a 4v5, and then the Rona can just, wreak havoc in the side lane. So that's actually pretty good. I think, like, coming from them, that quick decision making in the drafting really give them an edge here.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. So my thought about this is that they have a great composition for split pushing, but split pushing sort of runs out in strength at about this point. And you just saw it happen just there, right? So Spaghetti kept doing what he's been doing, split pushing by himself, and so on. But the lanes are so long now that it's almost certain that one of the opponents will see you coming, and that 2 or 3 of them will be able to gang up on you and take you out. And then that leaves your team with in a sort of a 5v4 situation, and then it's hard for you to win that fight.
Yeah, maybe this is where the teleport boots would come in really handy.
Yeah, it's either teleport boots at this point, or it's pulling together a really good, strong fight, or it's using those objectives. Right, so now is a great time for a push with Blacklaw. or to take out Ghostwing and to get that buff and win that team fight. But it's really hard to win the game just by split push.
Yeah, I definitely agree that if you split push, as Spaghetti has done, 3 turrets, then it would be a pretty stupid team to not think you're going to try and split push the next few. So as soon as they see that wave on their side being pushed back, they think, oh, Spaghetti's going to try and split push us now, let's stop it immediately. So it is a lot harder to do. As you said, these turrets are so far away, but as we say, split pushing doesn't work. Truffulus just split push a turret. He will fall, but he got that return turret. So many split pushes going on. Meanwhile, we're going to see Arguestial popping down the gauntlet, but it won't be doing too much. He has got the Crucible for the Trespass. I want to say Arguestial did manage to Crucible one of the Churn ults. Didn't quite get the 2 others, but he's getting one, which is nice to see.
Now, like, having that 4v5 situation right now happening for Team Rise, they're actually going to go for this Ghost Swing, which is, I don't know, there might not be any vision here for Sovereign, so they got to be really careful, and Blue City's going to take a shot out, maybe just to hope to get a scout in, but I don't think he's going to be able to get that last hit. Nah, no chance. And look at that, Spaghetti just dives into the fight. Now, he was always going for that split push potential, but now that he's joining on to team fights, it's going to be even more difficult here for the blue team maybe to deal with it, but look at that, they're expertly trying to just dip out of the fight, and they get themselves the 1. And from the looks of it, Team Rise doesn't want to go, even though they have that Ghost Swing buff in their arsenal. Yeah,
Spaghetti, once again, he's going to try and split push. I think he'll be able to it because no one from Team Sovereign is backporting, and Uni is stopping them. Uni is making sure that Bluxty and Druffies cannot cannot come back. But Spaghetti's going to switch it up. He's not split pushing. He's go for the insta play isn't quite in the right position. Bluxty with the arc recursion is not in a very good position. He's going to go down. And the Ghost Ring buff did make them not quite win the team fight, but then they got out of combat, and then Spaghetti was able to regen all of his health back to full with the increased health generation, and then turn around. So now we see bot lane, top lane, both pushing for the side of Rise. Can Luxuria do anything? He's going to block up the Oblivion. That's a nice Crucible. And what they want to point out is Luxuria has built a no-wave gauntlet just to be annoying to Arguestial. There is no good reason for that. Yes, it's quite a fun item, but I'm 95% sure that is just as a troll to Arguestial.
Oh, come on! You're playing as a turn walker. You want your ult to hit. The thing that stops your ult hitting. My request will dual getting a Crucible off, so you shut down the Crucible. I think it's a fair call. Also,
totally. And now they even get themselves Black Claw. Oh no, there's the Ardent Gauntlet, and well, no wave gauntlet. It's not gonna happen right now, Luxuria. Too bad, so sad. Call my dad. Anyways, Spaghetti here gonna go into the front lines once again, gets the kill onto Sky. Secondary gauntlet actually comes out from Arden, and that's gonna trap into the Coliseum. Quatervois. 1v1 situation. Does he actually have enough damage to be able to deal with Spaghetti? The answer to that's gonna be a no. Blue City here gonna be followed up, but nope, the dashes will prove worthy for himself to actually get the double kill. Looking for a third. Gotta be careful as Blacklaw is battering onto the mid-tier 3 turret. And Blue City is the one man, the Hail Mary defense, and it looks like that's not gonna be enough. Top armory has gone down, and this mid one will sure soon to follow.
Yeah, you cannot use your no wave if you just die. Yeah, I think we're seeing an awful lot of times where a team is trying to steal a dragon away and they just get caught out for it. And it looks like actually Luxuria is up, so they're not going to try and win the game. 2 armies have been taken down. That Vayne took so much damage from this Black Claw now that its defenses have been weakened by the armies being taken down. But all 3 members of Sovereigns are up, and so it's very close now. DefQ has to try and stop, or someone has to try and stop the top lane pushing because the army's down, so the minions are empowered. They're going to constantly push down the top and the mid. It's very tough for Sovereigns to come back from this, but it's definitely possible if they manage to win a couple of team fights and bring it around. We see Uni has picked up the teleport boots, so that we could be seeing. I do not see any scout cams in the base, so I doubt. Oh no, I see one. There is one scout cam, but Luxuria spots it with his own scout cam. So that is Rez's idea down the drain. I'm pretty sure he wanted to either force a team fight and teleport to that scout cam, or maybe just bait the teleport and then actually do a team fight.
Yeah, just to be dirty with their plays. You know, the backstab plays, just to get the easy win, the easy GG win. But anyways, what I actually saw there, like the three-pronged play of Team Rise was that, you know Spaghetti actually went to the bottom lane again to go for that split push a while ago, but then he actually didn't overcommit. So I think it comes to the point wherein like they already know at this point that he can't really go for that one YOLO push. So what he did was just he tried to gravitate a couple of players from Team Sovereign to go there, and it actually worked. He actually got two people trapped in that area, and then like two of his teammates come from behind, and he gets like pick on trophies as well as on Luceria, I think, and that just allowed them to have like a 3v5 situation, opened up the possibility of getting the bottom tier turret, and then just steamrolled Blackwell after that, which is really good.
Yep, and here we go. Blue's going to try the 1 versus 5.
Good damage.
So 2 versus 5 with Death Cube, but the side of Rise are saying we don't need to fight, we need to take down the Vein Crystal. Blue's going to get 1 kill, he's now 1 versus 4. Can he do it? He's managed to get 2 kills. There is only SNK and Uni, but they're going to secure the kill. This Samuel did so much work, and that all came about because the armories were taken down. So Sky had to go to the top lane to push it, which means in the team fight it was advantageous position for Team Rise. They had 5 people, there were not 5 of Sovereign. So GG, well played to both teams, and iRequested Jewel and Azurai have both beaten Luxuria. Sad Luxuria. He played really well in that game. We were pointing out some great plays, but it wasn't quite enough. And yeah, it was the real winner there, at least in my opinion, was that the armories went down. So that means the team had to be split so that they could unpush the lanes, and that left Team Rise free to just try and just try and win a team fight as 5 versus 4, 5 versus 3.
100%. Like once you lose those armories, it's gonna be super difficult to like mount a comeback. So maybe that's one of the things that VG might want to look upon. Like once the armory breaks, what's the possibility of the team that lost the armory to actually get back into the fight, you know, to have that chance of winning, of getting the comebacks.
Yeah, I really do think that part of it is noticing that, okay, we're in a bad position, we've lost more armories than they have, but then realizing that, okay, we need to just be together, either together or we need a lot of vision on where the enemy team is. If we don't see any of the enemy, we should assume that they are 5 together waiting to kill us. So we need to either have a hero such as Glaive who can easily get away, or you need to have the rest of your team nearby so that you can try and contest that. Because someone like a Churn Walker is a great teamfight hero, but if he gets caught out, he's dead unless he manages to ult over a wall and make the play. So I think that's a really tough thing to do, but it is definitely possible if you manage to take a good team fight that you can turn around being behind in armories.
Yeah, utterly. And you can do things like you can use minion candies to try and buff up your own waves and keep them out, but it's very hard to come back from.
Yeah, so I definitely think that is something that people need to be thinking about, need to be not overextending, because that's one of the main things. You make a slight mistake when you're behind and it's going to be snowballed and you're going to be in a bad position, but if they make a mistake when you are behind, then you can turn it around. You can take the Black Claw, win another fight, take the Ghost Wing, which makes you be able to win a fight, and then take Black Claw. But we are going to go into a quick break. When we come back, there will be an interview from Tezzaboy. Don't go anywhere. See you soon.
Powered by the highest performance game engine on mobile, leveraging years of experience building the largest international competitive mobile esport, harnessing extraordinary community anticipation. This February, Super Evil Megacorp will unleash the category-defining 5v5 battle arena for mobile. The first and only true 5v5 MOBA on the mobile platform, featuring graphics that put the copycats to shame, rendered at a smooth, flawless 120 frames per second. A simple-to-start, highly accessible experience that matches or outperforms PC and console counterparts in every way, with ultra-precise, intuitive touch controls that make a MOBA feel like magic. Nothing diluted, nothing dumbed down, delivering through original and creative hero design, level design, item design, and objective design, the immense depth, skill, and complexity that a legitimate 5v5 MOBA should offer. Outplay and outthink your opponent like no other game. Superior gameplay and graphics. The most accurate and responsive controls. deep, original fantasy storytelling, and unparalleled technical excellence with the platform-leading proprietary game engine and the highest frame rates. Super Evil Megacorp's Vainglory 5V5 sets the new bar for mobile gaming. Never settle for the lesser evil.
Welcome back from the break. We are here for the final interview of today. Once again, it's a member from Renegade. We're going to be speaking to Tezzaboy. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks, Minnie. I'm like really honored to be here, interviewed by you.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Tezzaboy. And so now, my first question, as always, how hyped are you for 5v5?
I'm definitely terribly hyped for 5v5 because just from playing the show match at Worlds, in around December, I think. Over the past few months, there's been so many changes to I've played Alpha and also the PBE the 5v5 testing. There's been so many changes brought through the 5v5, and it's going to be really awesome when it actually comes out. I believe in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, it's coming out so soon for all of you back at home with that golden ticket. But now we need to get into the interview. And the first question is, do you generally prioritize defensive vision in your jungle or try and be aggressive and put vision in the enemy jungle?
Well, I think it depends on what role you're playing in the game and what type of hero you're playing. For example, if I'm playing a jungler in 5v5, I would tend to put offensive vision throughout the map because the main objective of a jungler is to gank and to take away opponents' camps, because in putting down offensive vision, you also deny their defensive vision, because opponent scout cams can see your own scout cams and vice versa. So it makes ganking and invading into the enemy jungle easier, because you having a scout cam there means they don't have a scout cam there, usually. Unless if there's a scout cam there, of course you'll just go up and clear it. But if I'm playing for example, probably one of the solo lanes or playing as a roamer, I would prioritize more defensive vision, because the main worry for a laner is you getting ganked by the opposing jungler or just a rotation from a couple of other lanes. So putting vision around the brushes, especially the lane brushes towards the river, is really important and must be prioritized.
Yeah, you're worried about being ganked from your own jungle, not so much worried about being ganked from the enemy jungle, because you should be far enough away to be okay if they come try and catch you out. So what currently meta heroes do you think are going to fall out of favour in 5v5?
This is actually a pretty hard question, because I think most of the meta heroes that we have right now are also pretty good in 5v5. I would probably for example Lyra, she was really good in 3v3 because of the AoE heal. Now she's gotten even better because there's 5 people for her to heal rather than just 3. And other heroes because mostly our meta has been revolving around either really solo assassins or people who can do crazy amounts of damage in the late game. Probably more single target damage dealers, probably Box, weapon Box in that case will probably fall more out of favor in a 5v5 meta, because in 5v5 being close to the enemy means that you get hit by a lot of stuff, and for Vox it's really hard for you to do damage at a close range in a 5v5 setting without taking too much damage in return and dying really quickly, I guess.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so in a similar fashion, what currently out of meta heroes do you think are going to come through really strong in 5v5?
I think there's a lot of stuff which has a lot of potential. For example, Jewel, like she wasn't really that great in 3v3 because like she had like minimal mobility, and once her back was turned, she became a really squishy hero. But in 5v5, because with all the split pushing possibilities going on, and the numerous amount of places that the map has to offer, like Jewel can just is the perfect split pusher and can just push down turrets. Like Glaive as well, like functions in the same role as a split pusher, and also Glaive can gank so effectively. Like because in 3v3 there was only one lane, and so the support tends to hang around lane, which like it makes the ganks very hard to pull off unless it's like a 3-man gank or something. And but in 5v5 with like 3 solo lanes, the support can't be everywhere. So Glaive, it makes like Glaive's job really easy to gank. And also, I think finally, Flicker can't be underestimated in 5v5 because, like, you know how like since the vision system isn't really that developed right now in 5v5, Flicker's like ultimate and her passive are just so good. Like the slow and the 5-man ult can just decimate an entire team because there's just not enough vision, and there's too many places on the map where you can be. Like, they can just appear out of nowhere and just delete your whole team, I guess.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And so you said Jewel could come into the meta as a split pusher. Speaking of split pushing, when you've got Blacklaw, you're trying to push down into the enemy base, what is the best idea? Is it maybe not to put all 5 people with the Blacklaw pushing down mid lane, or do you want to put people down the side lanes as well?
I would definitely not recommend, like, for the like side with Blacklaw to put more than 4 players on the Blacklaw, like on the mid lane, because I would say the advantageous like taking of Blacklaw is more towards it being a distraction, like for the enemy team, because if you leave Blacklaw unattended, it can just sweep down your entire lane and take 2 to 3 turrets even with like no one pushing it. And I would recommend probably a 1-3-1, 1 person in the top lane and 1 person in the bottom lane, and the main 3, like probably the main damage dealer in the mid lane, just pushing down turrets and holding off like the enemy aggro on the actual Blacklaw, while your high damage but like melee split pushers in the top lane. Because if they have like a very hard choice to make. If they focus on the Blacklaw will like most likely take 1 turret, but like if they don't focus on the Blacklaw, it will take 2 or 3 more turrets and possibly like a like one of the near the base and maybe the armory and even the actual Bane Crystal. But if you actually focus on taking the like going for the split pusher, it draws attention away from the actual the mid lane push, and you can like end the game really quickly through like a situation like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that interview, Tezzaboy. It was fantastic. And hopefully all of you at home have learned some very interesting and very important aspects of 5 versus 5. You to take in to the game once that golden ticket is viable and you can get in just a couple of days. Thank you, Tezzaboy. We'll see you soon. So that was our interview with Tezzaboy, and that is it for today. All 4 games have been played, all 4 show matches. But that is not it for Vainglory 5 versus 5. As you all know, in 2 days and I think 13 hours, it's going to be released to the public. All of you with golden tickets will be able to play 5 versus 5 for yourselves. But we have also got some more show matches that are going to be coming up next weekend. So hopefully we'll see you all then. Thank you for watching this stream. Bye-bye.
Powered by the highest performance game engine on mobile, leveraging years of experience building the largest international competitive mobile esport, harnessing extraordinary community anticipation. This February, Super Evil Megacorp will unleash the category-defining 5v5 battle arena for mobile. The first and only true 5v5 MOBA on the mobile platform, featuring graphics that put the copycats to shame, rendered at a smooth, flawless 120 frames per second. A simple-to-start, highly accessible experience that matches or outperforms PC and console counterparts in every way, with ultra-precise, intuitive touch controls that make a MOBA feel like magic. Nothing diluted, nothing dumbed down, delivering through original and creative hero design, level design, item design, and objective design, the immense depth, skill, and complexity that a legitimate 5v5 MOBA should offer. Outplay and outthink your opponent like no other game. superior gameplay and graphics, the most accurate and responsive controls, deep original fantasy storytelling, and unparalleled technical excellence with the platform-leading proprietary game engine and the highest frame rates. Super Evil Megacorp's Vainglory 5v5 sets the new bar for mobile gaming. Never settle for the lesser evil.